the oldest operating motor speedway in the world, plays host to the second race of the Outlaws Sim Series playoffs. This historic 1 mile flat track is a pivotal race in this opening round, as it's the only oval, and 200 laps around here is coming up next on Pit Stop TV. Good evening, all, and welcome to the virtual West Allis, Wisconsin. Ed Shirt is alongside for Vakal this evening. And Ed, this race for the title runs through here. A tough track is on the slate for this evening. Flat, hard to pass, and this is a mental track. A certain level of mental fortitude is definitely going to be needed tonight.
Yeah, definitely a lot of Brazilians is going to be needed tonight in this race tonight, Emerson. You mentioned it. I mean, it's one of the flattest racetracks that we have, one of the oldest racetracks that we have currently on the circuit. But it kind of plays a little bit much of a comparison to where you want to fit like a New Hampshire into a Martinsville, but just make it bigger. I mean, it's just, one, it's hard to pass. Two, there's probably going to be tempers flaring with some people trying to pull slide jobs. It's going to probably be almost like a replica of how we did at IRP recently when we went there about a month or so ago recently passed. But it's going to be a tricky one tonight. I'm definitely seeing a lot of drivers struggling looking for some grip out there, as it's really slick track out there right now. So it's going to be interesting to see how these drivers pan out tonight and see how they can make it work before we head to the Charlotte Roval next week. Absolutely. And again, a lot is on these drivers' minds this evening because, again, if you did not fare well at the if you did not fare well at the Daytona Road Course, you're gonna need this race to be perfect for the Charlotte Roval. If you're not feeling too confident into the Charlotte Roval, we can go ahead and take a look at the point standings coming into today's race. Let's make it clear. Adrian Schumacher, he did everything he had to do last week. He's in to the next round of the playoffs because he won at the Daytona Road Course by convincing fashion. Jonathan Jennings, Max Service, they are almost virtual locks tonight. I think if they just have a decent race tonight, they will lock into the next round on points just by themselves. Seth Fitzpatrick, Seth Berger, they're more or less safe as well. Jeremiah Stutzman is the last one that's considered safe. He has a pretty hefty margin over the rest of the points drivers. But then we look down the list here. Scott Bailey, he's only 18 above the cut line. Got to keep it clean tonight because one mistake could put him in harm's way this evening, along with Devin Smith, Adam Gardner. Jacob Reeves is really close to that cut line. He needs to acknowledge the people he is racing, like a Matt Rogers and a St. Coeur. He has to keep those people in mind and keep those guys behind him, along with Doug Solm, James Gilliard. They have to go all out, put 100% out there. Matt Rogers and Andrew St. Coeur, they are behind the 8-ball. Andrew St. Coeur did not make the race last night, and I thought he was going to be able to get a provisional. He was not able to. So he is 30 points back of that cut line. He's got lots of work to do. Yeah, I would definitely look at this race to be kind of the make or break for Andrew St. Cour's season right here. I mean, this is going to have to be where he's going to have to play some different strategies compared to the rest of these drivers. Maybe even play a little bit of a strategy depending on the stages to maybe possibly get a stage win or two. But as for Brett Bothwell and David Murchie, I don't see either one of them register for the session tonight, so I'm guessing going into next week they're going to be possibly in a must-win situation, so that'll be interesting to see if either one of those two show up for next week and maybe get a win to make their second round of the playoffs. But I want to take a look at Scott Bailey and Devin Smith for a second, Emerson. Scott Bailey has been one of those more consistent drivers that we had recently in the past. He had that really strong run last week at the Daytona Road Course, running in that top 10 position all day. He was battling with, I believe it was Jeremiah Stutzman towards the end there. That was for that top 5 spot where Jeremiah got it over Scott Bailey after Scott Bailey had pit road issues. But Scott's been one of those guys who I feel like it has the win surely coming at some rate of time. Scott Bailey has been in this series for a little while, and as much as I've watched him even through the All-Star race, he's been competitive no matter what. Same thing with Devin Smith. Devin Smith, if we remember, was one spot away from winning the Bristol race before Landon Lacey got it. So both of those guys are really competitive drivers. I definitely would like to see both of them maybe do something different
as they're both 18 and 17 points back, but are still safe no matter what. So I feel like they're going to need to play some strategies, maybe gain some more points if they can, to maybe buffer their cushion a little bit before they get to round 2.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of work to do if pretty much you are anyone, well, I guess anyone in the playoffs really, but anyone that is pretty much Scott Bailey on back. You have to be cognizant of how you're doing in the race. And again, yeah, you're right. Bothwell, McMurtry, 2 no-show weeks in a row. Yeah, they're pretty much. Well, I don't even know if they'll be even allowed to show up and do a win and you're in based on just no commitment to the playoffs so far. Andrew St. Coeur, again, if he doesn't have a good race tonight, he will be a must-win situation. So lots to look at tonight. We'll be referencing this points battle all night long, Ed. So of course, this will be on our minds all throughout the day. And let's take a look at the track. It's very straightforward. It's an oval. The Milwaukee Mile. Again, 1 mile all the way around, flat, 1 lane. Tough to pass. You see drivers running side by side here. Again, it's a lot about not wanting to sacrifice the outside, the right front tire, by running higher on the track. You just want to run that shortest way around, and we can see some of the times there on the sheet, and the fastest iRacing times that we have here. I don't even see one for these next gen cars. The fastest one I see is for the ARCA car, which is pretty much the 2009 Nationwide Series Chevrolet. That's a 28-second lap time. We're maybe even looking more towards the 87s here, Ed, where the Ford Thunderbird has 31.018.
Yeah, we're just about, from looking at the practice charts, we're just about a second faster than the 87 cars, so that would be definitely a comparison. Those 87 cars are really tough to drive around here too. So, but I definitely like what I've seen from this track. I personally have no experience at this place. I've never really turned a lap. This is the first time I'm ever being able to witness these next-gen cars at the Milwaukee Mile, as much as you are too, Emerson. But you have experience more than I do on these kind of flat surface kind of tracks. I kind of want to say we can give IRP kind of a comparison. I mean, you mentioned earlier to me New Hampshire can also be a comparison, but the biggest thing that
those tracks.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love New Hampshire personally. I went there when I was a kid to watch most NASCAR races. But the one thing that sticks out to me about this whole track, how interesting is that pit road entry? That might be the most interesting pit road entry I've ever seen on a circuit.
It's weird. Like Pocono, but even more tighter.
Yeah, and then it's even sketchier when you look at the pit exit. You almost compare it to how we were last week at Daytona Road Course. I mean, you can just see how skinny it is. It's really skinny, and I have a feeling if you jump over just that little bit, as you can see fairly in that background, that curbing right there, that might play a little bit of a tricky kind of, how do I say it, like a bad edge, basically, to where if that driver would get his tires just over that little cushion, it might upset the car like we saw Scott Bailey's car, to where he can hit the wall possibly or spin out on pit road exit. You just have to execute on pit road to make sure you have a good night tonight. But then also at the same time, who's going to be that first one that comes for tires? Because I know I'm probably going to see a lot of people struggling with some grip out there.
Well, and we were talking, right? We are looking at a fuel window of about 82 laps. Let's just say 80 to be safe, right? And you look at it, you have 200 lap race. What's to stop you from splitting this bad boy into third? Go 67 laps, 67, and call it a day. Just to even out the tire wear. Or you try to short pit, you come in on lap 60 and make that last stint an 80 lapper, or do you go as long as you can and make the last stint the shortest stint? There's gonna be a lot of strategy tonight revolving around tires this evening, and I'm all here for it because that's really gonna be the best way to pass, is to strategize your way around somebody with tire strategy.
Yeah, absolutely, Emerson. I just think if you're somebody like Jonathan Jennings, I feel like since we know him, he's the more aggressive type of racer to push early on. I feel like he's going to be somebody that maybe plays that early strategy, like you mentioned, pit around the 60-70 mark, go get you 4 fresh Goodyear tires and see how hard you can push on maybe than everybody else. If you're somebody like, I don't know, maybe a Max Service or Seth Berger, who we saw play a little bit of a different strategy when we went to Nashville, who played it longer and stayed out for longer periods of time. I think you see them maybe stretch it to about that 82, 84 mark like we mentioned. It's going to be a lot of interesting strategies, though. I'm definitely looking forward to it as we see Max Service goes up to the top of the charts with a 29.9.
And let's go ahead and talk about that, right? And let's talk about what we have on the practice charts. We've been talking all week that, you know, Joshua Balliet, he dominated, absolutely dominated this race back in season 1. Led all 200 laps, or maybe he lost laps to pit cycle there, but even then, he won by 27 seconds. Joshua Balliet comes in as the odds-on favorite, with the fact that he's a playoff spoiler this evening, Ed. But you look, teammates at Swift Racing that maybe can learn a thing or two off Balliet. They're top of the charts right now. Greg Holt, defending series champ, not competing for anything tonight, just trying to be a playoff spoiler. There he is, in the 4th position. I see names returning to the city like Randall Barnett. He hasn't been here since the opening season. I was honestly shocked when I saw the name there. Randall Barnett is back in action here in the Outlaws Sim Series. I'm sorry, he ran the truck season. That's right. And yeah, but we have playoff drivers there on the other side of that top 10 there, Ed, that could use a good run, and they're in trouble right now. Stutzman, Smith, Reeves, Rogers, Gardner, all of them could use a little bit of a pick-me-up.
Yeah, the big one I'm looking at right now is Reeves. I mean, he didn't have the kind of run he wanted last week at Daytona Road Course. Got in early trouble. It was multiple laps down, and he's 8 points to the good. But I mean, I think this is one track where we're going to see everybody. Oh, it's really, I believe that's Matthew Byers right there. Yeah. But this is the one track, like we mentioned, that everyone's going to be looking at as their basically a win to get in strategy, as everyone's kind of worried still about next week when we go to the Charlotte Roval. And plus, the one thing we didn't talk about either, Emerson, and I was looking through the schedule to look at what we're going to be expecting. I read that that's supposed to be a night race.
Well,
that can also play different.
It was, and that is actually going to be changed. It will be an afternoon race. There's just insufficient lighting there on the infield. Not gonna lie,
that was interesting.
I was pushing for a nighttime race on a road course because haven't seen one, and that would be something else. But yeah, no nighttime road race this season. The Roval will be in the afternoon, but again, the Roval is one of the most technical tracks on the schedule, and that is, of course, it's not even a purpose-built road course. Well, I guess the infield is, but it's an oval first and foremost.
Yeah, absolutely. As we're looking at Seth Berger on track right now in turns 1 and 2, and as he's getting loose and hits the outside wall there, and now goes in the inside wall. But that's one thing I've been watching these drivers struggling with a lot. How much speed you're carrying in on entry. It just looks like the back ends for a lot of these cars, and drivers just does not want to be in the track. These guys are struggling big time on entry.
Oh my goodness!
Also on exit, as I see right there. As I mentioned, these drivers struggling on exit too. So
I had cut to Seth Fitzpatrick, and he is getting hit up into the air. My goodness. But while we're here, Ed, we got a couple minutes left here in practice. Is there anybody that catches your eye you want to grab a word with here quickly?
I was hoping to get a word with Andrew St. Cour, but I don't see him in the chat. Why don't we talk to the guy that's on the top of the charts right now, Max Service, and see what he's got in mind.
Bring on up the 81 of Max Service. He headed your way, Ed.
Max, is the boys in the booth? You got a copy, Max? Max Service, is the boys in the booth? You got a copy?
Looks like we don't have a Max. Oh, there he is.
Max, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Hi, Max. But we want to get a quick word with you about how's your car feeling currently right now as we're at the Milwaukee Mile. We see you're on top of the charts with a couple of your teammates. Did you guys find something possibly that nobody else has found for speed-wise? Because you guys seem like you're kind of dominating right now. The fastest I see comparison is you guys are faster than about 2/10 the rest of the field. So looks like you guys at Swift found something. Is there anything that you may want to leak out to the viewers out there that you might have found?
I said I felt like we had a short track I knew what to do to fix the short track program because we've been struggling. I don't know if it's fixed on the long run. That's gonna be to be determined. I'm not quite sure we have what it takes to be as good as we need to be on the long run, but we got the short run pace really, really good here. But just making sure we can hit the throttle and starting there with the setup instead of making it turn through the center. Because quite honestly, it doesn't really turn as much as I want it to through the center of the corner. But we've made some revisions and we're a little quicker because of it.
Now, Max, you do have that 62-point cushion right now over the cut line to make it into the next round. And I think me and Emerson can clearly say that you and Jonathan Jennings, if you do well in the first two stages, I think you should be automatically clinched into that second round. But is there any pressure you feel like for you or maybe possibly your teammate Seth Berger to make this race count possibly as a win to lock yourselves into the second round? Or is this basically just to play it safe and make it past the Charlotte Roval and make sure we're in the second round no matter what?
To be honest, we're going for wins now, or at least I am. I don't know about Seth. But 62 points is a lot of points, so, and I don't think we're gonna give those up. And quite honestly, I don't know if there's enough people here, probably at the Roval, to give those up. So, if I can win today, that'd be great.
Well, Max, we'll see if you have the pace to be able to win tonight. It looks like from the practice charts, you guys definitely have some good pace out there. So we'll see what happens as qualifying starting to get underway. Let's see how you got tonight, and hopefully we'll be talking to you later.
Hopefully, but we will find out.
And that is driver of the number 81, Max Service, again, sitting right now third in the playoff standings, looking to work his way into the next round of playoffs just by virtue of really just showing up because of the field size. He should almost already be locked in, but Ed, we are now into qualifying. Let's go ahead and head down to the track and get this bad boy started. So here we are at Milwaukee. Let's see who's out there to grab a hold of, well, not interview wise, but on the track there is the 7 car Joshua Balliet, the driver everyone's looking to.
Yeah, and you mentioned he's the favorite coming into this, dominating it last year, winning at this track. But we'll see what he's got going here as he goes into turns 3 and 4. Runs a little higher, almost like Diamond-esque little run there going into 3 and 4. He's going to carry as much speed as he can off the corner. Coming to the start-finish line to complete his first lap would be a 30.06. Just about a tenth and some change off of his practice time. He did run a 29.93 in his practice run, but from what I've seen out of a lot of these guys, the second lap has been the faster lap from all the quality runs I've seen. So let's see if he picks it up here going back into 3 and 4. Oh, he gets a little loose there.
Well, you know, he's going to throw this lap away. He's got one more shot at it. Let's catch up with one of the playoff drivers this evening, the 96 of Matt Rogers.
Yeah, and he needs a big night tonight. I mean, Matt Rogers currently right now is 4 points out of the cutoff for that round. Second round, where we say goodbye to 4 drivers. Matt Rogers looking to have a good run tonight. We're in a 30.54 in practice. Was just about, I would say about 4/10 off of where you normally would see most drivers running, but still competitive though. He still wants to be able to get some playoff points hopefully tonight, get some stage points to move himself on to the next round as he's coming here to end his first lap. Let's see what he's got in the time. 30.7. He's 2/10 off of his practice time right now currently. But the big thing though, James Gillard I haven't seen in here. Neither have I seen Doug Solms, so that will be an interesting thing to say the least, Emerson, for Matt Rogers. So that might actually help him no matter what tonight. We'll see how that pays out for him though.
You're right. We'll be keeping our eyes on the drivers that do show up this evening, Ed. One that did here is the 95 of Devin Smith, currently third on the charts. Trying to see what he can do. This is his third timed lap. Interesting course, just posted the time to put him 5th quickest. Devin Smith off of the final corner. He was one of the drivers, I think he got a top 5 here if I recall correctly. In the Xfinity race in season 1, he'll stay 3rd quickest, and we'll pick up one of those drivers that are that could use a little bit of help here. The 11 of Scott Bailey. Here he is.
And Scott Bailey had a good top 10 run last week at Daytona. Let's see what he does here going out for, I believe this is his third lap now. This is previously he ran a 4.90. See if he can pick up a little bit on his third lap. Driving in a little bit more harder right there in a 3 and 4, as I've noticed a lot of other drivers. It's going to be a lot of heavy braking, I feel like, tonight, Emerson, with these cars. But
absolutely.
It's going to be interesting to see who's going to overstep the boundary a little bit. Maybe try something different than we haven't seen, as we see Bailey goes a little bit slower there. He goes about to a 30.6, which is 2/10 slower than his fastest lap. So he'll stay P6 for now.
There he is with the Berg-Yarts Chevrolet Camaro. Seth Berger, Berger Nation, go ahead and rise up. And if you're not already, go ahead and check out the Berg-Arts social media links. It is now a new season of Berg-Arts items out on sale, and you can go ahead and check him out. He's mainly posted them to his Instagram, but of course has a Facebook, a TikTok, a Twitter, all that good stuff. You can see that trailer on their YouTube channel, their Berg-Arts, and believe there's a giveaway happening this week as well. So if you want to get in on that, check out the Berg-Arts social media links.
Yeah,
Berger
I know
puts
you
the
and
second
me,
quickest.
You and me have both noticed Seth with his merchandise and how fantastic work he does with all of his merch no matter what. But this is going to be interesting to see. I mean, these are where the Swift Racing guys, we're going to see who's the best one out of all of them right now in this qualifying lap.
It is tight between those three.
Oh, yeah. You look at the time comparisons. I mean, Max has just went to second, and he was about 9/1000 of a second. Now Seth goes to the top with a 29.9.
Charts.
And that's a big improvement from when he ran in practice. So that's a great
Huge.
lap from Seth.
He broke into the 29s.
Oh, but now Max has got him back.
Max! I wonder
Max,
if Mal just wanted to get out there right away, and there was maybe some advantage in the waiting. I think Seth is actually finished up. He's practicing pit entry here. It's a weird pit entry to get down into. Chick Reeves there in the 22 machine. Right on board with him. Whoa, a little bit of a shallow exit there.
and this is
Keep
going to
it
be the
in fourth
interesting
gear.
part. Is the interesting thing is how deep are these guys going to drive in their entry? And I'm curious if this is going to end up being to where this is going to hurt their tires more, to where they're going to have to back up their entries more and more as we go into the race pace. You see he goes slower there with a 30.6. But this is definitely another driver that we expect to have a good night tonight with Jacob Breeze. I mean, didn't have what he hoped for last week, but definitely looking for some more points this week as we see Greg Holt on the track. Going out for his, I believe, his first time lap. We'll see what he runs here as he comes off the turn 4 to the start-finish line now. And it looks like it's going to be a 30.34. That'll put him P8 currently. But this is where his money lap is going to be. He's going to have to make all of his time up on this second lap. As you see, he's not the only driver I've noticed, Emerson, that's been running a little bit higher off that bottom line, off of that curbing just about. But in 3 and 4, this is where he drives it in deep. You just want to get it to stick. Keeps it just underneath to where that little paved section is and comes off turn 4 with a bunch more speed. Let's see if he improves here on his second lap. And he does.
The Season 2 champ, proving why he is the Season 2 champion here in the Outlaws Sim Series. I'll put it fourth quickest in his return to action. And again, it's a new look on that number 3 machine. We're always used to his Lego car. This time bringing out the Rockstar Energy Drink machine. And this is a beautiful line he's running, by the way. He is diamonding it off, entering a little higher, but the right side's out of the groove, entering the corner, and then diamonds the car off. Doesn't improve that time, but will stay fourth quickest. You still wait. Lingerfeld, Gardner, Jennings, Powell, Barnett, and Byers to hit the track. And here is the Raging Cajun Boss Security number 65 Toyota Camry.
Here he comes running out pit road. One thing I do want to point out, I saw Jonathan Jennings leave the session earlier, and he hasn't yet returned, so I'm curious if he's actually going to be able to return to make the race tonight. If not, that'll be interesting for the points-wise, but I think with the kind of cushion he has, I don't think that's something he needs to really worry about.
Yeah, the good news for Jennings is he has a 65-point cushion over the cut line. But say somebody outside that cut line wins, and that drops the gap a little bit. Then you're not able to pick up any points or any real points today. Then you're talking a whole different ball game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anything can happen. You never know. I mean, we've seen in the real life NASCAR scene where we had in that first round, all 3 of those races, non-playoff drivers won those races. And you saw the big guns like Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, and Tyler Reddick all get knocked out in the first round. But anything can happen in these playoffs. You never know what's going to happen. As we see Kyle Lingerfeld take his first lap in his first time. Looks like he got invalidated a little bit. He must have an all track or maybe scraped a wall somewhere. But it looks like he's going to make it count on his second lap. Going down the back straightaway here, down the turns 3 and 4 as we're right on board with him. Carrying up a lot of speed going into 3. Got to get it well down to make it that corner. And then you want to try to get as much speed as you can off that corner. As you see, he has a little wiggle off the exit of 4. See what kind of time he gets here. Looks like a 30.52. That puts him P12 currently right now.
Gonna get one more crack at it, but he looks very unnatural with the car. Like he's still trying to figure out exactly how this bad boy's gonna turn into the corners. Turning really early there, and kind of has a shallow line. Catch up with the 94 Matthew Byers. This next lap won't count, so this is the only lap that counts. It'll be a 31.3, 14 times posted. 2 playoff drivers did not qualify there, Gardner and Jennings.
Yeah, and Lingerfeld did not improve on that final lap, so he'll stay in P12, and Byers will also stay in P14, but that'll round out our qualifying. And it looks like Max Services gets the pull over his buddy and teammate Seth Berger by 4/1000ths of a second.
That is correct. Max Service is the Pratt Tile and Stone Pole Award winner. Pratt Tile and Stone, serving Central Vermont since 2005. Time to go through our starting lineup this evening, presented by Whiplash Media Sim Cams. It is the Swift Racing duo in Max Service and Seth Berger on the front row, with non-playoff Swift Racing driver Joshua Balliet starting in 3rd. He's got Season 2 champ Greg Holt starting in 4th, and Season 2 champ starting behind Season 1 champ Seth Berger there as well. Row 3 will find the 2 of Seth Fitzpatrick, the 12 of Andrew St. Cour, in desperate need of a good run this evening. Row 4 to be the 82 of Adrian Schumacher, a Daytona winner. He's locked in, and his only goal tonight should be picking up playoff points. And the 22 of Jacob Reeves will start 8th. And in row number 5, we'll find a couple more playoff drivers in Devin Smith and Jeremiah Stutzman.
Yeah, in row 6, this 11 of Scott Bailey looking for another great run after Daytona Road Course. Alongside him, the 65 of Kyle Lingerfeld. Back in row 7, the one driver who's looking to have a fantastic run tonight and gain some playoff points to get him out of the cut and make it into the round 2. Matt Rogers in the 96. Alongside him in 14th, the 94, Matt Byers. Row number 8, Jonathan Jennings in the 91, who has not graded yet. And alongside him, the 16th, Adam Gardner, the league owner, in 56. And then row number 9, Randall Barnett in the 63. Alongside him, the 93 of Kevin Powell.
Gonna round out our 18 driver grid this evening. It's a 1 mile track, so real quickly we can talk about it. Track temp 98 degrees Fahrenheit, the air temp 75 degrees Fahrenheit, and the winds 10.5 miles an hour out of the southwest. This evening's stages and stage points will be awarded to the top 10 drivers at the completion of lap 40 and the completion of lap 90. And now the field is doubled up and getting ready to go. 9 rows doubled up. The iRacing.com safety vehicle heads down into the safety of pit lane, and we're racing from the Milwaukee Mile. Opening that lap complete, and Max Service is opening up a margin half a second over teammate Joshua Balliet. Malenko has worked his way by the 77 of Seth Berger. I don't know if that was intentional or Balliet just forced his way through there, but he's up to second.
Yeah, and Seth Fitzpatrick off to a good start, up to fourth. Adrian Schumacher gained 2 spots on that restart from 7th to 5th, and Greg Holt was the biggest loser in all that, losing 2 spots all the way back to P6 with Andrew St. Court just behind him in P7 with Evan Smith. Yeah, and losing more and more. So the 3 looks like he's starting to struggle a little bit, but it looks like everything's starting to single file out now. I'm not really seeing much going on here, but it looks like everyone's looking to take care of their tires and make it last for a while.
Remember, Andrew St. Court had a great run at New Hampshire earlier this season. St. Court, a 5th running playoff driver, and he's looking to get to the inside of our Daytona Road Course winner, Adrian Schumacher.
Andrew St. Court looking to the inside, going into turns 1 and 2. He's going to power in there. I don't think he knew that Adrian was going to give it to him, but Andrew said, no, I'm going to take it anyway. So he just sent it in there, going into turns 1 and 2, and move Andrew St. Court up into the top 5 now.
Talk about somebody who wants it. Talk about somebody who needs it. We've said all season Andrew St. Court is better than his points position will tell you, and it's because he's had some just bad timing absences from racing. He is much better than his points position will tell you in the round. Also, he didn't even race last week. So Andrew St. Court looking to make his way into the next round. Hopefully, get rid of these pesky absences that are nearly taking him out of championship competition, but right now up to 5th early on here at Milwaukee.
Yeah, one thing I'm really noticing, these guys in the top 3 of Swift Racing have really pulled away from the pack.
Yeah, they have.
I mean, it's about a second and some change now to the guy back in 4th place of Seth Fitzpatrick. So Seth Berger, Joshua Balliet, and Max Service are really making their way towards, I mean, just pulling away from the field as Andrew St. Court is still looking to try to get runs now with Adrian Schumacher looking behind him with Greg Holt, but got a couple of little packs separated. You know, we got the pack of Seth Fitzpatrick all the way to Greg Holt separated from Devin Smith on back, but got a little bit of separation going on everywhere.
And think about it, right? We let's be real, we saw Swift Racing struggle, absolutely struggle at New Hampshire. At Phoenix they did better, but the Jennings and Powell just outdid them by miles. They've struggled on these flat tracks, and you talked to Max in the previous show, Ed, and you said, and he said that he knew what he had to do to fix this flat track program, and so far it's looking like he has proven himself right. But only lap 7, plenty of time for things to change. But at the moment, they have opened up quite the margin at the beginning of this race. Adrian Schumacher, though, in that Swift Racing stable, has not been able to experience the same success. And I guess I can only attribute that to, and A, he's, you know, not trying to ruffle any feathers. He's already locked into the next round. And or B, it's just not his forte. He even said, if you remember last weekend, he's almost scared of these curbs here.
Yeah, and I didn't want to say anything, Emerson, but we had a pass with the lead. Joshua Balliet has gotten around Max Service. Max Service has actually fallen back to 3rd place. I think he had something going on at turns 3, so he just backed off and gave it to Joshua Balliet, and Seth Berger also went by him. I don't know if it was a little coordinated or not, but I mean,
the
guy you picked for the favorites out front, Emerson, this is not a good sight for the rest of the field.
And we caught it a little late there. It looks like Max might have just let him go.
I saw him make the pass going into 3 and 4. I didn't know if Max had something happen or if he just, like you said, let him go.
Here in 1 and 2, Balliet just got the run. He dove it in there, and Max just kept it up there. Oh! Uh-oh!
Him and Seth are not playing nice, it looks like.
So Max lifted on entry to get a better run to the center of the corner, but Balliet drove it hard on entry, had a not so great run on corner exit, which Max drove towards, you know, through the center of the corner, had to check up for Balliet, and then Seth was right there ready to take advantage of it. A little bit of an intriguing battle there with the Swift Racing teammates at the front of the field.
Yeah, and I'm looking a little bit further back on now. Matt Rogers got around Devin Smith for 10th, and now Devin Smith is just getting trained on the outside by everybody else. Jeremiah Stutzman's getting by, and now Kevin Powell is working his way past him. So it looks like Devin Smith is just not in the right positioning right now, but Matt Rogers is doing exactly what he needs to do right now. He's got himself in the top 10 for these stage points at the end of lap 40. He just needs to be able to maintain this and keep it going, and if he can. But further up the road, he's got Scott Bailey and Jacob Reeves, which Scott Bailey has been working. Yeah, absolutely. And Scott Bailey has been working on Jacob Reeves, trying to get this spot for the last couple of laps. I think Scott's been running a little bit more faster than Jacob, but he just hasn't been able to get around him.
Very difficult. And I wasn't sure what the running was going to be like here at Milwaukee, right, Ed? I did think, though, there was going to be some downshifting just because of how long these corners are, but these drivers have elected. Oh, man, Scott Bailey trying to get some pink off that rear end there after 22. They are keeping it in fourth gear all the way around this track, and they are revving out towards the end of the straightaways.
Yeah, like you mentioned, Emerson, I mean, we can adjust these setups as much as you want. I mean, these guys probably have setups that are programmed to have longer gearing ratios to basically where that fourth gear can last a while on that straightaways. Now Scott looks at the inside. I don't think he's going to be able to get there, but he might be able to get to the core panel going down the back straightaway here as Jacob's giving him plenty of room, and it looks like Jacob's just going to give him the spot.
But help me out here, Ed. You have the chance to either, fix the gear ratio to not rev out as much on the straightaway, or shift in the fifth gear, use that downshift or a little bit more, turn to the center of the corner. Why are you risking the motor like that at the end of the straightaways over and over again? I mean, they're going to rev out 400 times if this stays green.
I mean, the only thing I could think of really is if people are just that kind of person that don't want to shift in the middle of the corner, because, one bad shift, you can accidentally shift twice and you won't even know it, and that will end up blowing your motor faster. But maybe it's just a habit of just running around. When we're used to just having first through fourth gear, it becomes a habit for some of these drivers. Yeah, we never had the experience of this fifth gear, and also the kind of experience of having to shift in the middle of the corners as much besides road courses. So it's a little bit more different than what we're used to. So maybe some drivers like, I don't know, maybe like Scott Bailey, for instance, as we haven't seen him shifting, aren't used to that kind of yet and don't want to be, and just want to stick it in that one gear and just ride it for the rest of the time. Like myself and you, of course, Emerson, we're both used to that. We've done it before. It's not the first time we've done it. I've done it at Richmond multiple times. It looked like Andrew St. Cora looked like he had a moment almost there off of 4, but still, it's like, it's just a personal habit, to be honest, with these gearing ratios.
Well, even with that moment for Andrew St. Cora, he is still pounding the rear end of the 2 of Seth Fitzpatrick. And again, we talk about how difficult it is to pass here. He's going to have to spend a few laps setting this up, working on his corner exit to get the better run off the corner and to set up a dive on corner entry, similar to how he did with Adrian Schumacher, but Schumacher let him through. Taking the 18th lap now of 200. St. Cora is there. Obviously, Fitzpatrick is not going to give it up easily, but how much longer can he fend off this 12?
I'm not sure, but I'm just scrolling through everybody's lap times right now and looking to see where the pace is at right now. Joshua Belliet is putting the pace down. His last couple of laps, he ran 8s, and then the lap before, just a couple laps ago, he ran a 7. We haven't seen a 7 all day today so far, not even in practice or qualifying. So that 7's putting down some record pace, but like you said, Andrew St. Cora, I think he's waiting for that moment to where the 2 makes a mistake, but you can see it. That 12 just eats him up in the entry of the corner, but it just looks like he can't do anything with it from the center off. Just about to, that's where Seth Fitzpatrick is getting him off, getting him to the point to where he can't make any passes going. And plus Seth Fitzpatrick kind of running the preferred line to where he can't get a pass off, and that's the bottom. I haven't really seen much passing going on from that top lane up, and it hasn't really worked out much, as we saw Devin Smith earlier getting trained on the outside earlier. So I don't think the outside's going to work, so I think Andrew St. Cora is just going to have to hope for a mistake from this 2, or maybe do what he's doing now and maybe get a run off the exit of the corner, that kind of diamond he just did off of turns 2, and maybe build up a run for the next corner.
He just slit the nose a bunch there in the center of 1 and 2 and lost about 0.2 of a second. Andrew St. Cora does not get the benefit of the running there, and you're right. Looks like we got actually a battle here for second. And Max Service up to second once again on teammate Seth Berger.
And these two have been kind of playing back and forth with each other. They're letting Joshua Balliet get away a little bit. Joshua
I
pulled
don't
out
think they're
about.
worried about him though. He's not a playoff driver.
No, absolutely not. It kind of helps, actually, Seth in his favor, to be honest. I mean, as bad as Seth kind of wants to get points, and same thing with Max. I mean, Max said they want to get wins. That's all they came here to do, is just get wins. So, I mean, they're going to do it no matter what, if they keep this, what they got going on right now. But, I mean, it all depends on how strategies work. I mean, are they going to stay out long, or are they going to maybe play that little kind of short game to where, like you mentioned, maybe 3-stop it, get your tires and push a little bit harder than you used to. So we'll see what happens though as we're running around to lap 23.
I haven't even thought about that. A potential 3-stop might be pushing a little bit, but it is on the table. Hitting at lap 50, lap 100, and lap 150. I haven't even thought about that part, but
yeah, and these guys can make it just about 10 to go in the end of stage 2. They can make it all the way through stage 1 on this full tank of gas, but it's going to be interesting to see who's that type of person that's been saving the most and can maybe make some ground up towards the end of the stage. I mean, I would expect these tires to start wearing out about possibly from lap 25 to lap 30 and so on and so forth, but it all depends on who's that type of person that's saving this whole time instead of pushing, because from what I've seen so far, it looks like a lot of drivers are trying to push their way to the front, so it's going to be interesting to see. As I'm looking back through here, Scott Bailey's working to the inside of Greg Holt now for P7, I believe this is. So move Scott Bailey up into P7, Greg Holt back to 8th. Now Jacob Breeze is going to maybe take a peek to the inside and try to get around him.
remember Matt Rogers has been trying to close up on this battle. And now that I think about it, Ed, it almost sounds appetizing. If you're somebody who, if you're a playoff driver who needs stage points and you fail to get stage points in stage 1, what about after the stage? Come in and pit. If most people are going to stretch it to lap 80 or lap 70 or lap 60, you're going to get, 20, 30, 40 laps on fresher tires in them to build up a gap and potentially get stage points. Is that a viable option?
Yeah, if I'm maybe somebody like, Devin Smith or an Adam Gardner who are back in P13, 15 and can make up that track position to get to stage 1, I would consider possibly coming to come get some tires and fuel and make it to the end of stage 2. Where I know I have that opposite.
Making that pass for attempt, putting Stutzman in stage points. Sorry to cut you off there. Just a note there on another playoff driver.
Yeah, this is big. I mean, everybody that wants playoff points needs to go get playoff points now. And Greg Holt, this looks like he's losing the grip in his tires. I think he might have pushed it a little too hard. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time. I mean, we've seen Greg Holt. He is very aggressive in the opening laps of each race that we've seen him. I remember in Iowa, and he had one of those. Yeah, he might be coming in now. This is interesting. This might put him to where he can make it. This actually makes him make it to about lap 100.
Mm-hmm.
So one more stop for Greg, and he would be able to make it.
So right here, it's on 27. So let's call it, for math simplicity's sake, 30. You can go all the way to, well, if you go 82 laps, so yeah, you can go to 110. No, he'd still be 10 laps shy. This is 10 laps too early if he's trying to make it a 2-stop working it backwards like a road course.
Yeah,
Greg
this
Holt
is
down
definitely
away.
going to be a 3-stop.
And I hate to say it, he might be a little rusty, just because he hasn't done all that much on iRacing recently. Plus, he's been trying hard to work on his craft in this NextGen car, because this is a whole different beast. Greg Holt, obviously, we know can drive, the traditional NASCAR stock cars of I guess days past at this point now. The way with the old steering box and the truck and the Xfinity car. This new Cup car, different steering, it's a whole different type of feel. It was actually intriguing. The other day, I seen him. I popped into a Discord with him. He was screen sharing, and I popped in. He was running NIS at Bristol. At that point, he was a few laps down, but he was still running that race. Even though he was several laps down, just trying to learn more about the car. And what I noticed from that screen share, he has his engine audio very low, and he has his tire and other sound audio much higher, so he can hear if he's sliding the tires a little bit more. And I think this is part of a thing that Greg Holt's just trying to adapt to this car a little bit, understand how the tires wear. with this car.
Yeah, and it's a big difference between this Gen 7 to Gen 6. I mean, it's between how light the Gen 6 were now compared to where we are now at the Gen 7s. These Gen 7s are a lot more of a heavier batch. I mean, you're talking about how heavy the brake packages are. I mean, you can lock up a tire and you're killing
contact.
Oh, between Kevin Powell. I mean, like I said,
to plow through here.
Yeah, you're talking about killing off about like 5% just locking up a right front possibly. So it's a big difference between what we're used to driving between now. I mean, you can just see how big of a difference these tires are. I mean, look, he just blew by Jeremiah Stutzman.
And we expected this, but I think more than anything, I think Greg figured out whatever he was doing in the first stint. The reason why he was getting absolutely dotted up by everyone else was he pushed the tires too hard, and maybe he didn't even realize he was pushing the tires too hard. And again, it's crazy to think of the rise and fall of a champion in the Outlaws Sim Series like that, especially from last season. Just went on, to win the title. Had an amazing season to this season, albeit he didn't race that much, and he has not been on iRacing to the same extent this season. That he's really struggled. He has really struggled in this next gen car. So at this point, he's not in playoff contention. He's just running for fun. I think he's maybe more or less trying to learn more about this car at this point with these races.
I mean, don't we all wish we had that kind of time to take more time into learning this car? I mean, I would love to. I would spend hours and hours just trying to figure out this car, just like the real life drivers are now. I mean, you're still trying to figure out little bugs and stuff and all we got there. I mean, they're trying to figure out the lug nut issues and, the random part failures like we had at Bristol. There's just a lot of things that people are trying to learn with this car as we've seen this battle heating up. I was going to mention this. Seth
show.
On Seth Berger, yeah. I don't know what's going on with Seth Berger's car, but he's been falling off compared to his teammates these last couple of laps. So it's interesting to see.
In a similar boat to Greg Cole. Not in the fact that he struggled as much as Greg has, but so this has not been a Seth Berger-esque season. He hasn't gotten the win totals that we'd expect Seth to get.
No, and his last couple of races haven't been the greatest either, to be honest. I mean, what was his best finish in the last couple of races? I would say maybe a top 5, top 3. I mean, he hasn't been. I think the last win he had was what?
Indianapolis Raceway Park.
Yeah.
10 races ago at this point. He's on a little bit of a winless streak. Seth Fitzpatrick does work his way to the podium right there.
And that's not what we're used to with Seth Berger. I mean, we're used to all these Swift Racing guys being up front and competing for wins and competing for this championship. Seth Berger honestly was one of my favorites to win this championship. And it just looked like the opening round of this playoffs, he hasn't been able to, show what he's been really having. I mean, he had that struggle towards the end of the race at Daytona Road Course. That's a road course with these next-gen cars that we haven't been used to. And now the same thing here with Milwaukee Mile, another track that we're not used to with these next-gen cars.
Way to look at this, Ed. Look at the top 10 at the moment because we're close to the end of the stage. It is Joshua Balliet, non-playoff driver. Right now we're trying to play playoff spoiler. And then 9 playoff drivers. They're lined up to get stage points.
Yeah, and I'm looking mainly from 6th on back to 9th. I mean, they all gained up on Adrian Schumacher. Adrian Schumacher has a ton of cars looking to get by him right now.
Well, he is locked in, so I guess he doesn't need these points, albeit
no,
he does need
Scott Bailey's loose. Scott Bailey got really loose on entry.
Oh, baby.
This is big for Matt Rogers, too. Look, he's going to try to follow this train, too. That's one more spot. If he can get there, though. If Jacob Priest stays up my side, he'll be able to get there. Now it looks like he does.
Dive to the inside of Schumacher. Reeves maybe has a go at the 22. Can't throttle up on exit. 2 laps to go in the stage.
Jeremiah Stutzman's going to be that last guy to get the playoff point. Or not the playoff point, stage point.
Is he going to be able to catch Schumacher? I don't think he has the time to.
No, I believe not. But maybe does Matt Rogers have enough time to get Jacob Reeves? He's been close and closer the last couple of laps. I've been watching these two, and Matt Rogers really does have a good car. I've been watching him. He looks like he's comfortable. Looks like he's managing his tires well. Looks like he's getting really used to this track, and I definitely like what I see out of this 96 Toyota.
Well, it has been an absolute dominant opening stint for the 7 machine. He did not get the pole, but he quickly worked by his 2 Swift Racing teammates, and Joshua Balliet is gonna win stage 1. And I'll have to double check, but that might be his first career stage victory. And Jeremiah Stutzman has had an issue, and around goes the 71.
Yeah, I saw him around in turns 1. I didn't say nothing because I was looking. Adam Garner has also had an issue. He's came to pit road with a right front problem.
Gardner's in trouble. You're right, and he missed the box. He's got to back up. Big time issues for 2 playoff drivers at the end of stage 1.
Now Jeremiah having the points, he might have a decent cushion, but Adam Gardner, I mean, it's gonna be interesting to say the least.
Gardner's gonna have to practice all week, and he might have to be in a must-win next week.
Yeah, and he did good last week getting points at the Daytona Road Course, but he didn't get any points on stage 1. I was hoping maybe he'd play a little bit of strategy to get up there for stage 2, but this is not what I was expecting. And Jeremiah Stutzman, I don't know what happened. I just saw him. I looked like he just looped it around in turn 1 and then just looped it again. It was interesting to say the least. I didn't know what happened.
Well, we have drama in Wisconsin. Let's go back and try to see what happened to the 71 machine. So here it is. He is battling the 93. This is the coming to start the final lap of stage 1. He did not get stage points, Jeremiah Stutzman. This is starting the final lap of stage number 1. He gets sideways off the corner. Oh my goodness! Big time issue there for Jeremiah Stutzman. Way up the track, then goes around, loops it back up the track. Now here comes Balliet. He just won stage 1, the 7 car.
Hey, he just again.
Burnt up the tires now. All the while, Adam Gardner is having issues because he's coming down the pit lane. At this moment, it doesn't look like there's anything broken on the 71.
No, it doesn't. It looks like minimal damage for the 71.
Figure out what happened to Adam.
That was just odd.
Oh no! Adam Gardner had a similar thing. We caught it a little late there, but Adam Gardner had a very similar incident to Jeremiah Stutzman. We'll catch it here.
I saw Adam slow in the back straightaway, and I was curious what was going on. And I saw the right front was completely destroyed on the side.
Look at this. Off of turn 4. It's sideways, overcorrects into the outside wall, down the track, and then this one is the kicker. Bam!
Oh, yeah. Oh,
what a hit.
That's
it
a hard
absolutely annihilates the right front of that 56 machine. He can't steer.
Nope. Steering's knocked out of it.
And that was Balliet. This is on lap 40. He's coming to win stage 1 at this point. I can't believe it. They got 2 very similar incidents. 2 completely different points on the track. They might have the same setup, but that is something else. All the while, Adrian Schumacher has come down the pit lane.
Yeah, he came down, topped off 4 tires and fuel, playing that little bit of strategy to where he can make it past stage 2, maybe play a little bit different strategy, but he's going to have to hope for a lot of time gain right now. As him and Greg Holt are the first cars a lap down. The next one will be Matthew Byers, who I believe is just about to be going a lap down here shortly, as him and Kyle Ingerfeld are fighting to stay on the lead lap for 12th and 13th.
Well, I was gonna go on a little bit of a little read here on Balliet, and I'll have to double check. I don't think Balliet has won a stage of the Outlaws Sim Series before today, because we did not have stages in season 1. Season 2, he was race control, and they ran a very limited schedule. Same with this season. I can't recall if Balliet's won a stage, so this might have been his first stage win. And albeit, let's think back. He has 3 career Outlaw Sim Series wins. Malenko does, and they're at here in Milwaukee, Bristol, and USA International. Again, we know him as somebody who really enjoys short tracks and technical tracks, but I mean, the fact that his only wins the Outlaw Sim Series have come at short tracks and technical ovals, I mean, it measures up.
Oh yeah, once I introduced myself to Mal, he told me that he was a big time short track racer. I mean, he did a lot of late models and legend stuff, so I would see where that short track background came into play. And
Cars
I
on
mean,
pit
you see
road,
what
2
he's
playoff
doing here.
drivers.
Yeah, and then all that, Seth Fitzpatrick got around Max Service for second.
Fitzpatrick has been on it. You're right.
Yeah, I think he's doing like I mentioned earlier. Oh, Scott Bailey missed his
Scott
box.
Bailey missed his box.
Oh boy, that's gonna hurt him.
No. Matt Rogers is in. Gardner's still in the pit lane. Yeah, Scott Bailey just took a pass through. And now Max Service is in. So, you know what? I think the 3 stop that you alluded to, Ed, is happening.
Yeah, and I mean that's gonna be interesting. And here comes our leader too, along with Scott Bailey one more time.
If Fitzpatrick's in the pit lane, yep. Here comes Malenko and Scott Bailey.
Andrew St. Croix stays out, so he'll be presumptively our leader this time.
Berger is in. Oh, and he misses the box. And to back up twice there. Balliet down and away.
Now, I'm really interested with Andrew St. Croix strategy because, I mean, you and me both looked at him as needing a lot of points to make it into that next round. Now, I'm curious, how long is he going to play this game unless he thinks he can make it all the way to the end? I mean, he hasn't stopped. I really highly doubt you can make it 90 laps on a
there's
day.
no way. I think maybe he's playing the caution game. Hopefully he gets a yellow in his favor.
I mean, him and Devin Smith both stayed out. So, it's just interesting to say the least, in my opinion. I just thought Andrew would maybe play that kind of game like Greg Holt and Adrian Schumacher did, where they pit early if you knew you couldn't get stage points. But Andrew was in that spot where he could get stage points. I was just interested to see if he would be one of those ones that came early to get 4 tires and fuel and possibly be one of those guys that gained some track position by pitting early.
So Scott Bailey having his unintentional pass through on the pit lane, he has put himself down in 15th. Jeremiah Stutzman had a horrific in-lap, but he's down in 16th. Adam Gardner has not returned to the track. He is 15 laps down. I'd imagine he's trying to get back out there in case somebody else has a similar issue, but it is not looking good for the 56 camp. All the while, Andrew St. Croix is still out here leading.
Yeah, and looking at Seth Fitzpatrick and Adrian Schumacher being two of those guys that pitted really early, I believe back in the lap 25 to 30 range, and Greg Holt right now is in 8th, and Adrian Schumacher is in 7th. As Adrian Schumacher is now getting around Kyle Lingerfeld now, I believe this is for P6, and then Greg Holt is behind him as well.
Lingerfeld has yet to pit. There is, Holt going around Lingerfeld. Going on Devin Smith and Andrew St. Croix to come in. I'd imagine at this point they're going to go the distance on their fuel tank. We will have to see. We're going to go ahead and step aside. We'll be right back with coverage here from Milwaukee. We're actually not going to go anywhere. We're going to go Pit Stop TV side by side.
Have you found yourself trying to hide your joy because you're unhappy with your teeth? Your smile is the first feature noticed in an interview, on a date, or in family photos. We want you to be able to shine bright as your best self, and our teeth whitening system is the perfect step toward restoring your confidence. After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Welcome back, race fans, to the virtual Milwaukee Mile. And something just happened there in the side-by-side. And I'm pretty sure I know why this is happening. I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at this. Ed brought my attention to it. You want to see it before I say anything, though. So this is Greg Holt. For some reason, he's making now a second pit stop here on lap 63. But nonetheless, he's trying to pit here. Well, he's way up high. Comes back down.
Hey, my question is, why is he so slow? Like, he's really, really slow off the exit of the corner, and that's where people are starting to race, too.
Mind. So I was going to say one thing, but I will keep that to myself, because that is not what, anywhere near what was happening.
Oh, yeah, like, he was pitting, but I think he was thinking pit row is way sooner than he thought, even though he was used to it already. I was just curious on why he was going
he
so
turns
slow.
into the corner. I guess his setup might not be right, because he's just straight up missed the corner. And then, yeah, Lingerfeld comes up in front of Stutzman because Lingerfeld's taking avoiding action.
Yeah. I don't know about that one. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure there. Glad I took a look at it before I said anything. But yeah, that was... I don't know.
It's interesting to say the least.
Joshua Balliet has straight up passed Andrew St. Cure for position. I'd imagine
now Max just got around him.
Max in by his stepdad there for second position. Seth Fitzpatrick coming up as well. I'd imagine we still have yet to see Devin Smith, Kyle Lingerfeld, and Matt Byers hit the pit lane. So we're still waiting those stops.
I'm still really confused on this Andrew St. Core strategy. I'm really mind-boggled that he would try this, because he was in a good position to get points, and it's just, I don't know, maybe if he's thinking just make it on one more stop to make it to the end.
Oh, here it comes. Oh, he's making the even 3 stop here, Ed.
Yeah, that's literally what just came to my mind. I'm like, there's no way he really wants to lose all this track position.
Take 200 divided by 3, and what number do you get?
I don't know. I'm not really good at math anymore.
67.
I suck at math still.
The answer was on your screen.
Oh! Well, yeah, see how much I'm good at math and pay attention.
I said that because this is lap 67, and he's trying to. So what he's doing, everybody who came on lap 50 is cutting a pit stop, or I'm sorry, they're running a 3-stop strategy. Well, we already know you have the fuel to make it on 2 stops, but that's inefficient to go all the way to lap 82 and run it dry. Why not take the 200 lap race, split it into thirds, which is what Andrew St. Cour has done, which is what Devin Smith is now doing. We are waiting to see if Lingerfelt and Matt Byers will do the same. Intriguing here. Yeah, this makes sense now that they, now it's playing out. I guess that's all we have to do was wait for them to come in.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew St. Course fell all the way back to 13, but he's going to have the freshest tires out of everybody on this racetrack right now.
He's going to have by about 20 laps fresher tires. And you know what, Ed? That might propel him into stage points. We still have to have the 65 and the 94 to pit.
Yeah, the 65 and the 94 are a lap down, but, I mean, the first car a lap down is Lingerfelt, and he's in 9th. And plus, also, Joshua Balliet is close to lapping Jacob Breeze in 8th, so that would make another car a lap down. Actually, no, he's closer to 3 more cars to make a lap down, but I don't know how much of ground can Andrew St. Cour make up in that time.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. So Lingerfelt, Matt Byers stuff yet to pit. They're the last 2 to pit. I'd imagine they're just going to run the tanks dry. Hopefully they catch a yellow is what I'd imagine they are thinking here. Joshua Balliet has a 5-second advantage over teammate Max Service. Nearly 7 seconds over Seth Fitzpatrick. 12 seconds over teammate Seth Berger, 21 seconds over Adrian Schumacher, 27 seconds over Powell and Rogers and Reeves. And if you recall, or if you were with us in the Outlaws Sim Series back in season 1, Joshua Balliet, he had at the end of that race a 27-second margin over the field. He lapped all but the top 3. Oh my goodness, we have a car in the grass in front of the leader. That's Devin Smith.
And I have a feeling I have a reason of why that is. I mean, I think that's just somebody maybe pushing a little too hard on new tires.
We can see it right here. You know what? He's also racing somebody on older tires. Let's see how this plays out here. Looking at the 95, Devin Smith. Then here Jacob Reeves, and Devin just clips the curbing that Adrian Schumacher alluded to last week. He's afraid of these curbs, and I think rightfully so. These cars are very flat, low to the ground. They can't handle curbing all that well.
No, absolutely not. And it would have been interesting to say the least of how those cars can be on curbing, but I want to go back to a point that we were making earlier with Andrew St. Cour, Emerson. Andrew St. Cour is up to 9th.
And
so he's back in.
Has yet to pit. They have yet to pit. He just passed him straight up.
Yeah, and that would help actually Scott Bailey, who is just behind him too, and is about to go by Kyle Lingerfelt. Actually, I think Kyle's coming in this time. Yep, here he comes.
Kyle Lingerfelt's coming in.
Matthew Byers stays out still. Looks like Matthew Byers is going to play that one strategy where it's just a 2-stop.
Well, everyone, I think, if you're St. Cour, Devin Smith, Kyle Lingerfelt, and Matthew Byers, all 4 of those drivers are on a 2-stop.
The biggest thing is, can Joshua Balliet lap both Jacob Reeves, Matt Rogers, maybe even Kevin Powell? I don't know if he'll get Kevin, but before the end of the stage, because that would beneficially help Andrew St. Cour. Because, for one, he's got fresher tires than both those guys, and 2, he's a lot more faster than both those guys.
What's happening here, though, Ed, is Balliet has not been able to find a way past. Max is actually caught about 3/10. I don't know if Max is going to catch the entire 5-second gap, but Max is caught up a little bit. Balliet working through traffic. Now, the thing is, of course, lap cars are going to race the leader harder than they will race anyone else. because they're fighting for the racing the leader. Once you get lapped by the leader, well, you're already lapped. There's no reason to fight second place.
Yeah, absolutely. And
So
that's understandable, especially for playoff drivers.
Mm-hmm.
So that definitely
here,
puts in a factor.
Valiant's at a much more. He's much more open to being raced harder because he's the leader, and a race that is looking like it's gonna go green all the way. Unless there's that straight yellow, you want to be on the right side of that. So like Jacob Reeves, he's gonna fight for his life right here in front of the 7.
Yeah, and it's not making it easy on Joshua Balliet either. I mean, he's not giving him any of the clean air. It's actually hurting Joshua on middle entry and exit. I mean, you just see him. He sticks his back end of his car right in the middle of the nose of the 7. Yeah, and it disrupts the car. And we got 3 wide all the way in front of him too.
Yeah, they
which
are.
is something the leader don't want to see either. So
Adrian Schumacher is gonna be the first of this group to get lapped. You have that one.
I would have never thunk that.
And something has to be going on with Adrian. He's running the same setup as the guy he just got lapped by, I'd imagine. Albeit, Adrian does not have to worry about this race. He's locked into the next round. But you think he'd still go hard for it? I don't know, or maybe he's gone too hard for it. Jacob Reeves under attack.
And not really much of a competition there. It looks like Joshua Balliet's going to clear him easily. And Devin Smith behind him is going to try to get one of his laps back. He's currently 2 laps down.
He was ahead, but that slide put him behind the 7 machine.
So now, with Adrian being a lap down, that's going to be one more spot for Andrew St. Cyr before this is all said and done. And he will get to Adrian.
He's just about there, yeah.
He's just about there, but can he get to Jacob Reeves? I don't know. It's going to be close. He needs to get through these guys in front of him first, like, really quick.
You see it there. Adam Gardner has returned to the track 33 laps down. He is out here just trying to get slim pickings if anybody else drops out the race.
And Andrew did get Adrian, so move Andrew St. Cyr into 8th.
Yeah.
Now he's going to set sights on where that 22 is.
Because the 22
He
just
sees
got
him
lapped.
just up the road.
Yep.
Yeah, and he sees him just up the road. He's only about a car or 2 just ahead of him.
Ooh. Balliet was looking to the inside of Rogers. He wasn't down there yet, but Rogers did block him off a little bit there. Albeit that is the line, but intriguing. They're getting tight here. Oh!
Yeah, they're... Rogers is
Balliet
gonna
getting a
fight.
little aggressive. And, you know, for what it's worth, the 96 should be thinking, oh, look at this. He's running the tight.
Yeah, he's benching him and not giving him any room.
You know the kind of driver Malenko is. Matt Rogers has a lot more to lose than the 7 of Joshua Balliet.
Oh, he's really, really blocking.
Oh!
Oh, oh, he's getting there. Oh, it's getting feisty.
I don't know. If I'm a playoff driver, I'm not going to mess with a driver who has nothing to lose.
No, I don't really think Joshua Balliet's going to get to Kevin Powell either, so this will just put Matt Rogers on the free pass, and he just needs to set in line and just pull away from Jacob Reese, if anything.
Well, that's if there is going to be a yellow, you know. I don't know how likely we are to get one of those. We almost, I guess, had one right there.
Yeah, we almost did.
I think Matt Rogers got the memo. Message delivered. 7 to 96.
Man.
And a little feisty. It's hard to pass here. You want to block the leader. The leader's a playoff, non-playoff driver who's got nothing to lose. That's a risky game.
Now this is big too. Look at Matt Rogers and Jacob Reese. Andrew St. Cyr caught both of these guys after all that.
And again, stage points are up for grabs very soon. Seth Fitzpatrick closing the gap on Max Service for 2nd. We'll keep tabs on that. Oh, blocking.
Michael 3 wide.
St.
Oh,
Cyr into the back of the 22. Oh,
Oh my goodness.
this is good stuff at a single lane track.
So much aggression out of these playoff guys. I love it.
St. Coeur puts his nose down there, and now Rogers.
He was going to self-clear no matter what. You see that? He was getting ready to self-clear no matter what. He didn't care if he was or wasn't clear.
Rogers has now gone from 6th to 8th. Taking a look at this battle for second as Fitzpatrick's there. Oh, he is all over the rear end there. Must be a fan of Taylor Swift. To the inside. And Max will just let him by. He won't, you know, try it too hard here, especially with Jennings not starting today. I think Max is almost a surefire lock into the next round.
Yeah, especially with these with these points he's going to get the stage. I'm pretty sure we can clinch the 81 into the next round.
It'd be, I mean, I haven't done the math, so I can't say that, you know, officially or mathematically, but just on pure perception alone, I definitely would say the 81's into the next round.
Oh my goodness, the 12 just self-cleared in front of the 22, and the 22 gave him a shot in the middle of the corner.
We're not done with this yet. Nothing repaid.
Oh man, Andrew wants all these points he can get.
And remember, these guys are lapped down, so their stage points will be tallied 1 lap sooner.
Oh yeah, and this is the white flag for the stage.
Yep. So this is their last lap.
Still though, it's a great recovery for Andrew St. Coeur. I did not think this would work in 6th place points no matter what.
That is a playoff driver who understands he's outside the cut line, and he has played the stage points game beautifully. Maybe St. Coeur doesn't have the fastest machine. Maybe he doesn't even feel like he has a 6th place machine. But St. Coeur has played the game perfectly to get himself some nice stage points. As Joshua Balliet, if he's gone from no stage wins entering today, he's now got a couple of them. 2 stage wins at the 7 of Malenko, and searching for his first win in over 2 seasons.
I mean, that's just unreal to think of. I mean, he's had such great pace at some of these tracks that we've been to recently.
Let's be real, you know, he did spend 1 season in the race control booth.
Yeah, you're right.
But still, when you put it like that, it's hard to believe. With that, Fitzpatrick was second over Service Berger. Powell held on to the lead lap spot in 5th. Something would be intriguing. You know how Jonathan Jennings is on these short tracks or these flat tracks or these technical ovals. Can't believe he did not make the start tonight unless he just, you know, something came up. If something did, you know, wishing them the best. But crazy that Jennings was not able to show up tonight, because I think he'd be one to take the fight here to Swift Racing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially with how dominant he's been.
Somebody's now within that 4-second threshold of Malenko. Look, maybe that's just center corner, but Seth Fitzpatrick, 4.2 seconds.
Yeah, maybe that might have also something to do with the fact that the leader was in a lot of traffic too.
Certainly, but that traffic, just, you know, on pure intuition, I don't think it's gonna race Seth Fitzpatrick as hard as a non-playoff driver leading the race. I don't know.
And they've been flip-flopping the fastest lap between each one of them, so that last lap Joshua Balliet was faster by about a 1/10. They've been each picking off a 1/10 of a second off of each other, just about. So all that interstate core is still catching Joshua Balliet to get back on the lead lap, and that would be huge too, because then he can go get Kevin Powell possibly. But we still got to remember, he's still got to make one more pit stop.
But he's got to make one. The 7 of Balliet more than likely is going to make 2. Good for
I don't remember, and I think Powell also was one of those guys that pitted early too. So he would have to make another stop. More than the 12.
Intriguing to say the least.
This is going to be really interesting once we get closer and closer towards past the 150 laps.
Absolutely. I'm going to even say, now granted, Elliott, he's only made, I think, 5 starts this season, and 1, 2, 3, 6, 7 starts last season. He's only led one lap in the last 11 starts he's made in the Outlaws Sim Series. And that being the Talladega race in the Truck Series season. Joshua Balliet, he is last 11 races, led one lap. I'd imagine no stage wins to his name at all in the Outlaws Sim Series, since we did not do stages in season 1. He is here, and Andrew St. Clair is looking to unlap himself.
Yeah, I just don't know if Mal's going to give it to him or not. It'll be interesting to see if he does. I mean, we've seen how aggressive he was to get these playoff drivers a lap down. I don't know if he's going to give it to the 12 easily, unless the 12 does what he does now and peeks to the inside. Oh, it looks like Mal's going to cut him off a little bit.
Mal doesn't give it to him, but to be fair, St. Clair just didn't drive it as hard as the 7 did, to be real. We have a car down the pit lane. That is a 63 Randall Barnett. And I have to double check this. I don't think he's made a start this season. There's some damage, I think, on the front end of that 63. I can't tell if that's part of the paint or damage. But have to back up a little bit.
Oh boy, Joshua Balliet got a lot of time lost right there. He had to check up because the 12 got by him, but then the 95 also peeked to the inside, wanting that spot too. And yeah, that lost over 5/10 to Seth Fitzpatrick.
Seth Fitzpatrick's out 2.2 seconds back. This is huge. Is there somebody rivaling this 7 car this today? Granted, I believe Balliet's going to be making a stop very soon.
And I believe Seth Fitzpatrick came early as well. I'm not sure when he did. I think it was... I'm going to recheck this real quick. I believe it was around lap 52.
I actually want to apologize. Randall Barnett has made 9 starts this season.
I was to say, I do remember him making a couple starts. I just don't remember
he
where
has
exactly.
not ran since May. It's just over the last 4 months. I must have forgot about him. Here comes Balliet.
Oh, here comes Fitzpatrick as well.
Fitzpatrick's going to cover that off. Oh,
and
boy.
Service. Oh, wow. Max Service really drove it in deep at the pit entry. He was getting up as much time as he could. Seth Berger stays out, so he'll take the lead.
And not the lap led where the start finish line is. So I have to come around and lead at the start finish to get the lap. And think about it now. St. Clair. Oh! Uh-oh! No, St. Clair's coming in now. Oh.
Interesting.
So maybe he only did that lap 67 pit to get stage points. And now he's going to be more or less on sequence. Ooh. He's in it. Barely, but he made it into the box. Seth Berger is in the pit lane now. Will he get the lap led? Right there. Actually, he got the lap led. Balliet.
Now this is interesting. I don't know if you can see the difference between Balliet and Fitzpatrick.
Yeah,
Fitzpatrick had a little bit more traffic to get through than Balliet did. So that played a little bit of a difference.
Yeah, 3.5 seconds now in Balliet's favor.
And plus, Andrew St. Clair just beat off Kevin Powell off pit road.
It's huge. Jacob Reeves has yet to pit. So St. Clair is right now 5th place overall. Or theoretical 5th with...
Here comes Jacob Reeves now. Jacob Reeves the pit road.
And here comes Joshua Balliet. 30.156.
I mean, this is where Balliet was the fastest. I mean, just running record-breaking times. I mean, it was just insane the kind of times that he was putting off on the short run. And Fitzpatrick is having a lot of trouble right now getting by this lap traffic. He's struggling to get by Kevin Smith. And now he's also got to get by Kevin Powell, who's just came off pit road on fresher tires, too.
And right now, it's a 5-second gap. So I have to think, though, with Balliet running these fastest laps... At this point of the stint, Ed, is this where Fitzpatrick's saving his tires and maybe Balliet burns him off a little too much and why Fitzpatrick was catching him at the end of the stint?
I 100% agree with you. I think I saw it earlier, too, in the race when people were going by Fitzpatrick and when Fitzpatrick got around Berger and Max Service in the earlier part of this race. I think he was just really saving his tires a lot because I was just watching him. Just look, you can see how comfortable he is running that bottom line all the way around 1 and 2, and he does it down here in 3 and 4 well too. Just watch his entry into 3 and 4 and how comfortable he looks running this very bottom of this seam just about. Really moves. Just looks steady. So I think he's really taking his time, not really pushing that left and right front as much as he really needs to, and just gets better tire than what Joshua Bellier gets. I think that makes a huge difference in why he takes up so much time towards the end of these runs. But my whole thing is, these guys are going to have to make at least one more stop to make it to the end. There's no way they can make it the whole way of the rest of this race.
I think they're going at 150.
Yeah, they would have to pit 150, 160-ish, I would have to say. I don't see how they would want to make a shorter run than that.
Intriguing. 4 cars on the lead lap. Valiette, he has opened over 2 seconds now. 2.5 seconds on Fitzpatrick. Since the pit stop, he has a 6-second advantage over the 2 car right now. And we are now into the second half of the race. Stage points have all been awarded. And 20 of them, albeit he's not a playoff driver, they've gone to this 7 machine. We're going to go ahead and step aside. We'll be right back. We're actually not going to go anywhere. We're going to go Pit Stop TV side by side.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy. Have you found yourself trying to hide your joy because you're unhappy with your teeth? Your smile is the first feature noticed in an interview, on a date, or in family photos. We want you to be able to shine bright as your best self, and our teeth whitening system is the perfect step toward restoring your confidence.
Welcome back, race fans, to the virtual Milwaukee Mile. Some trivia for you. What year did the Milwaukee Mile open up as a car racing track? It will tell you the track opened up in 1876, originally as a horse racing track. What year did it become a car racing track? And so back when it was called the Wisconsin State Fairgrounds, and why, by that year, is this track known as the oldest operating motorsport facility?
I'll take a guess, 98.
1998? Or
Yeah.
1880? 1898? What?
I would say 1998.
It doesn't make sense. It wouldn't be the oldest operating facility.
I don't know, man. I'm just winging it.
I'll say that to help you out a little bit. I guess I'll say, sure. I think your guess will be closer to 1898 than it would be to 1998.
Oh my God, is that old?
Well, you have to
Sheesh.
think the first Indy 500 was in 1911. So it would have to be older than 1911.
Okay. I'm gonna say 1877.
Well, the track opened as a horse track in 1876. So is it only a horse track for a year?
Okay, I'm gonna say 1897 then.
1997. Close, but not quite. I'll give the answer out later. I
That's
might
crazy
have
to
said
think
it
that this
early in
place.
the podcast, but yeah.
It's crazy to think that this place is as old as it is, and it still looks as good as this. Crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. You'll see it on the back straightaway, and I think we'll go on board with Balliet so you can see it. Here off of turn 2, it says Wisconsin State Fairgrounds, which is what this place is dubbed as before it garnished the name of the Milwaukee Mile. Here it is. Might be blocked by the 94. It said it there. Maybe he's going a little too fast for us to see it.
Yeah, we're only going about like 140 miles an hour down the back straightaway. You can read it fast.
But yes, I will say it is a year sometime in between when it became a horse track in 1876 and before the first Indy 500 in 1911. She's old, and the fact I think that if I read it right, I think IndyCar is coming back here next year. Right? I know trucks are for sure.
Yeah, I know trucks are. That'll be exciting. I didn't know IndyCar. That would be interesting.
That's wild to think. We're gonna have, even though it's in the truck series, a race on the NASCAR circuit that is over 120 years old.
It's crazy. To think that anything is older than Indy is beyond me,
Yeah.
but that's insane.
I mean, what cars are they racing? Back then.
I don't know. Maybe
Nuts.
I don't know. Maybe little prototype tractor things. I don't even know.
Maybe.
Like those little big wheels with small bodies. Maybe I don't even know.
I guess in all that we missed the overtake for second. I was looking at it and I guess I forgot to switch to it, but there was an overtake for the second position. We've got it lined up here. Max service on Seth Fitzpatrick. This was about 4 laps ago. Off of turn 4. Service. Great run. Peeks to the inside. Dives it down in there. And being a 1-lane racetrack, Fitzpatrick almost passed to a block. Oh! Of a bump. Oh.
And both of them just had trouble getting around Kevin Powell just now. Kevin Powell was fighting a little hard there, but it was interesting to say the least. But Max definitely has a good short run speed. It's just Seth Fitzpatrick just saves it all in the long run, which is really good.
I mean, now Ed, there's if they're pitting at 50 lap intervals, there's only 30 laps left in the stint. If they're pitting at the 150 mark, I mean, where does that switch flip on for Fitzpatrick? Because he's gone from 3.5 seconds to 9.5 seconds behind Joshua Balliet.
If I'm Fitzpatrick, I think I have to pit sooner than I think later. I don't think I match what the leader's doing. I think I try to gain as much track position as I can and hopefully, make up some time. Because we all know Fitzpatrick has a really good long run car. It's just a short run to where, he doesn't gain anything. And that's where Mao gains everything, and so does Max. So if I'm Fitzpatrick, I'm thinking 140, maybe 145. I think you want to be a little bit sooner than both Max and Joshua Balliet, because I believe both Max and Joshua Balliet will be in, I would take a guess, around 155, 160. So it'll be interesting to say the least. I just think Fitzpatrick needs to play a little bit different off strategy than these guys.
Intriguing. Consider the short pit, and you know what? That would be something, right?
If you were Fitzpatrick, what would you do? Honestly, what would you do?
Well,
because I honestly think he needs a short pit, in my
guess
opinion,
so.
to be able to do anything.
I guess so. He'd have to short pit and hope I build up enough of margin that by the time the tires wear out on the 7 and 81, they're not able to get past. So I mean, for what it's worth, they have already gained 3/10 on Valleyette. It's hard to tell because the gap fluctuates so much because of how long the corners are.
Yeah.
But it's definitely stagnated a little bit though. It's sat at 9.6 seconds.
They just need to gain a lot more time if they were to. I think Seth just needs to gain a lot more time for him to be able to pull something off. I think he would have to pull in about like the 6 to 5 second range if he was going to do anything like that.
Go a little bit through the field, and we'll work backwards this time up. Jeremiah Stutzman, he had an issue on lap 40. He did not get the chance to hold on to 10th position for stage point, so he lost out on stage points in stage 1 and in stage 2 as a result. He is the last car 2 laps down, and trying to see what there is. The good news for Stutzman is he had a large gap in points over the cut line, and some drivers didn't show up today. The Stutzman should be on the plus end, but we have also, we had the Charlotte Roval coming up, and season 1 we had 4 full course cautions there. Stutzman may need a little bit of luck to fall his way at the Charlotte Roval. He just actually got past Adam Gardner, another driver who had an incident there on lap 40. He is 33 laps down and in a lot of trouble points wise. The good news for him is, again, drivers didn't show up today, but it's gonna be tough for the 56 to overcome some of the points hurdles heading into the Charlotte Roval. A very technical course, and it won't play Adam any favors.
Yeah, absolutely. How about that 82 machine? Last week's winner punches ticket into the round 2 already. Always has his sights set on round 2, and I think he actually has his sights set on the Charlotte Roval to possibly go two for 3 in this first round. I mean, why not? I mean, the best road course racer that we have in the Outlaws Sim Series, trying to put more onto his name and maybe make some history in the Outlaws Sim Series for most wins in a road course, possibly, for how many times we've seen Adrian Schumacher win. I think at this rate, he's just adding more and more to it. But still, and not the kind of run we expected from Adrian today, but I think it's still one of those kind of comforting races where he's just relaxing and not putting too much stress on himself. So other than that, it's a decent run for Adrian. He has a little bit of a blink out there, but other than that, still a decent run for the 82.
Quick pause on that. Fitzpatrick did get by max service once again. Are we at that point of the run now for the 2 machine to catch up? We'll check back in with the 2 machine a little later on. Non-playoff driver sitting in 11th, Kyle Lingerfelt, the second driver 2 laps down, and sitting right behind the first driver 2 laps down in Devin Smith. Friends, teammates kind of thing going on here. The Boss Security, Raging Cajun design, number 65 Toyota Camry. It has not been his way today. He had that near incident with Greg Holt and Jeremiah Stutzman on that pit entry debacle on Greg Holt's end. Other than that, it's been a relatively calm, clean day for the 65. He's been playing some strategy, trying to elevate his positioning. It's not worked out in his favor, but he is still giving her a go.
Yeah, and how about just in front of him, like you mentioned, his teammate and friend Devin Smith in the 95, a playoff driver, having a good top 10 day. Didn't have that start he was looking forward to early on, and he was running around the top 10. He qualified decently in 9th position, but then fell back and got trained a little bit to where he fell outside of the top 10, back to 13th or 14th. Still working his way through a little bit of a hiccup from pit road, 2 laps down, and still slowly but surely making his way through the field. But not bad. Hopefully he can finish off in the top 10 and seal his fate into the next round 2, 17 points above the cut line. But just in front of him, the last car 1 lap down, the 11 is Scott Bailey, who had a great top 10 run last week at the Daytona Road Course, having a good, solid, another top 10 day here in the Milwaukee Mile. So I think Scott's definitely showing up to this round with a little bit more confidence, and I definitely think he's paying off to where he needs to be finishing top 10 each week, and definitely showing that he's in contention to possibly make it to that final round at Richmond, but still needs to do a little bit more, maybe get some top 3s and maybe a stage win or 2 here, but overall, still a good day for this 11 Chevy.
Car right in front is a 96 of Matt Rogers, and Rogers came into today, I recall, 4 points outside of a cut line. He's done a great job today of getting those 4 points in the stages, but he has definitely had chances to get more. If he was at 6th place with 2 laps to go in stage 1 and got freight train, so he's not been taking the most advantage of his situation. He's factored well with the stages, getting stage points, yes, but not to his liking, and a driver who could use a little bit of more cushion heading into a chaotic Charlotte Roval. Matt Rogers, again, one of the drivers looking to improve upon this position he sat here. So the 22 Jacob Reeves, he's this is somebody who's had some pace today, who's kind of on a little lower than I think he anticipated. Teammates with the car in front, but no Jonathan Jennings tonight. Wonder if that's somebody he leans on a lot to help him out throughout the race, and might be affecting his racecraft tonight.
Yeah, how about just a little bit ahead of him in P6? A good run for the 93 machine of Kevin Powell. I know he has a lot of fans out there that watch our broadcast week in and week out, supporting him through his Facebook community and all. As you see him going to the inside of Max Service there, that's not for position.
Oh,
But overall, still a decent day for this 93 machine, playing some strategy to get himself into this position in the top 10. Definitely showed off some pace early on in this race. Get some decent stage points, but not in the playoff hunt, but still showing some competitiveness in this 93 machine. And then just ahead of them in P5, what a heck of a story Andrew St. Cor has put on today. From looking like a strategy that I didn't think was going to pay out to absolutely making me look terrible in strategies. But Andrew St. Cor finished inside just about in 6th to 7th place in those beginning stages. Now running in 5th place currently, looking to pay off for a top 5 today, which would be great for his case, sitting below the cut line, 30 points out. But with as many no-shows as we had today, his decent chance of making it into the round of 2 might be looking pretty dang good as we head to the Charlotte Roval next week.
Seth Berger came into today with a large margin of points, I think somewhere in the 40s. He's gotten himself that 1 lap lead, not that it counts for points or anything, but a little bit of a morale boost, the stat, I guess, a little bit. He's been hanging around the top 3, top 5 all day long. Fell out of the top 3 actually when the other Seth Fitzpatrick moved his way through the Swift Racing duo of Service and Berger. Again, I discussed earlier, this is not the season I expected from Seth Berger, but hey, this is a brand new car. He's faring. I mean, I'm sure a lot of drivers would absolutely desire to kind of run Seth Berger's having, just not up to par with Berger Nation's expectations, I'd say, but a good run nonetheless. He's still inside the top 5 and still on the lead lap at the 7 car favorite track.
Yeah, they're just a little bit ahead of him. Go ahead.
He's led 7 laps. He was started on pole. He's been hanging around the podium spots all day. He had 2nd place for a couple laps on this stint. So Fitzpatrick has recharged up and powered through the 81. Fitzpatrick up the road again, but Max Service, he is. I haven't even done the math, but on perception alone, definitely is a lock for the 2nd round of the playoffs. I think is starting to become the championship favorite, as he has the most wins on the season and is not looking like he's tapering off at all. Somebody I think who's adapted to this car very well in the 81 Max Service, and we talked to him before the race, Ed. You did, and so again, this team struggled at tracks like New Hampshire and Phoenix, and boy, it sure looks like they flipped the switch today. They have definitely figured out this flat track program.
Yeah, absolutely. While you were doing that, Emerson, the 82 of Adrian Schumacher went around for a little bit of spin on the back straightaway, but he kept it going and keeps it going in his spot. But back up to the front, though, in 2nd place, Seth Fitzpatrick, who we've been talking about all day, having a great long run car. Slowly but surely picking off some time to our leader, Joshua Belliot, just about 6.5 seconds to our leader, Joshua Belliot. Seth Fitzpatrick definitely didn't have the kind of showing I was expecting last week at Daytona Road Course, especially after him winning at Watkins Glen and showing how dominant he was there. I was expecting a little bit more out of him, but today he's proven me wrong once again and showing that he definitely has the kind of speed at some tracks that you don't expect. Definitely, I think, showing a little bit of the Jonathan Jennings strength as we see in short tracks with the kind of pace he's been pulling off, but not as good as this 7 of Joshua Balliet, who's currently our leader right now up front. Led just about almost every single lap besides, a couple here and there. Is a couple drivers getting some points for leading laps, but I mean, can you say much? One stage 1, one stage 2, one. I mean, he didn't win the pole. His teammate Max Service did, but other than that, he almost had the complete sweep. I mean, he just had 3/4 of the sweep, so he's looking to make it fully almost a sweep, but still an impressive day for the 7, and he's looking to get his first win in quite a while.
I will say, I'm pretty sure, I'll have to double check it. I did mention earlier this week in the chat with the admins, Adrian Schumacher actually had a clean sweep last week. I think he's the only driver this season to pole, lead all 50 laps, win both stages and the race, and the fastest lap at Daytona Road Course. First time all season. He almost did it at Laguna Seca, but Reese Schaefer took his fastest lap towards the end of that race. Now, obviously, Balliet's not going to lead all the laps here today, and he did not qualify on pole. But for somebody, granted, he's only made 11 starts over the past this season and last season. But for somebody who is not won in the past 2 seasons, Trevor's looking pretty stout. Picked up his first 2 career stage wins today, and is at the moment solidly en route to a 4th career Outlaws Sim Series victory.
Yeah, absolutely, and doing a fabulous job. But we got some pit stops going on, Emerson. Kevin Powell just recently got around to Andrew Secor for 5th. Hold it down pit road once he got by him and is in for his final stop of the day. And here comes also Matt Rogers in the 96 down pit road.
Matt Rogers is in, slid the box a little bit.
Here comes Seth Fitzpatrick as well. Second place, Seth Fitzpatrick is in pit road as well.
The undercut. Balliet has to come in this next lap to cover this off.
And this was about the time I expected Fitzpatrick to come in for this long run to work.
No, that's the box. I saw the yellow line on the ground. No, that is his box. St. Coeur is in as well.
Balliet's also coming in right now.
Yep. Balliet, I knew he had to come in the next lap to cover that off.
Oh, he came in. He looked close. He was fast, like really, really fast. He barely got underneath the speed, I think.
I'll have to see. Oh, sliding. He got in there. Took the pit crew members a second to readjust, but he got in that box. 32:26. The pit lane time, not the stop time, the pit lane time on Fitzpatrick. Balliet, 32:21. Oh boy. But Fitzpatrick gets that lap sooner. How hard does Fitzpatrick push to create this run? We've seen Fitzpatrick, he closed the gap on Balliet a little bit. He got, 3 seconds or so on Balliet. But he was still 6 seconds back. Does Balliet have another hard push at the opening of this stint to open more of a gap to Fitzpatrick and seal the deal? We'll have to see. 51 laps to go for the 7 of Balliet, and he has a 5.5 second advantage over the 2 of Seth Fitzpatrick. Leader is Max Service, though.
Yeah, of all that, I was expecting Seth Fitzpatrick to gain a little bit more on that, but I guess it's just Balliet playing the strategy perfect and knowing when to come down and hit just before, so he didn't lose as much time as he needed to, but he did that perfect, and now Max Service is down pit road. He'll get his 4 tires in fuel.
Number fastest lap for the 7 of Balliet.
Seth Berger stayed on the track, so he'll be the leader currently right now.
Service down away. Beautiful pit lane time. 31.8 seconds. Seth Berger, I'd imagine, comes in this time. No. He's out.
Keep going.
So still to pit, Seth Berger, Kyle Lingerfelt, and Matthew Byers for fastest lap before the 7 of Balliet. 6.1 seconds is the gap now. And if we're looking at last lap, Seth Fitzpatrick is running about 3/10 slower than the 7 of Balliet.
Up, and here comes Seth Berger now. Seth Berger to pit road.
Expecting this, and 77.
I didn't want to say nothing ever since, but I was looking a little bit further ahead, and I saw the 7 of Joshua Belliet catching the 96 again, and I'm like, oh boy, is he going to fight him off as hard as again? But 96 let him go back on the inside, outside, so it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be, and I think Kyle Lingerfelt's coming to pit road this time too.
The Blingerfelt's in. I believe that will leave one more car to pit before everybody can make it to the end of this race. 6 seconds the advantage for Balliet over Fitzpatrick, but he's not gaining anywhere near the time he was gaining on Fitzpatrick beforehand. And actually, Fitzpatrick ran a faster lap last lap. Service with the fastest lap, albeit he is quite a ways behind. Balliet a 30.094. Fitzpatrick 30.589. That is huge in the favor of Balliet.
I told you, man, this 7's got some really good short run speed.
Oh my goodness! But somebody else has even more.
Yeah, anyone? Okay.
29,
all right, Max.
8, 87. Somebody's cooking.
It took an interesting time for him to pull that out.
Oh man!
Holy cow!
What a steamer!
Yeah, I'm curious too, Emerson, because this track has changed a little bit too. Because I'm watching the track temperature,
Sure,
and it was up around it was up in the 90s earlier when we started, and it's down to 87 degrees just about. So it's cooling off a little bit.
More grip,
not a big time, but yeah, not a big ton in change in temp, but I mean, just that little bit of track temp, changes a lot. So these cars might be. We can probably see why these speeds are starting to pick up a little bit, and that might be just because of how the track temp is handling.
Balliet's picked up a 7-second advantage. And the only driver to pit on this stint is 94 Matthew Byers, who's about to get lapped a third time by the 7 of Joshua Balliet. And is lapped for the third time. And for the final time today, we're going to go ahead and step aside. We're going to go Pit Stop TV side by side here from the Milwaukee Mile. Don't you go anywhere.
Have you found yourself trying to hide your joy because you're unhappy with your teeth? Your smile is the first feature noticed in an interview, on a date, or in family photos. We want you to be able to shine bright as your best self, and our teeth whitening system is the perfect step toward restoring your confidence. After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Welcome, race fans, back to the virtual Milwaukee Mile. I know we just heard from him, but quick shout out to our partners here at Pit Stop TV, that of course of Whiplash Media SimCams, the official graphic and camera provider of Pit Stop TV. You can check out Whiplash Media SimCams at pitstoptv.com/Whiplash. SimRapMarket.com. Of course, you can check them out at SimRapMarket.com. The SimRap Market is formerly known as Heatwave Designs, a website that makes plenty of base paint schemes for a plethora of cars on the iRacing.com motorsport simulations platform. So if you're somebody who needs a paint for a car on iRacing, head over to SimRapMarket.com. They got plenty of bases. You buy the base and you can get it. You can edit it however you like for all the logos you need to, and it's yours. So if you're somebody who needs time or doesn't have the time to paint, doesn't have the creativity to paint, or just wants a whole new outlook on the car that you're driving, head over to SimRapMarket.com. They got you covered. And also shout out to Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine. You deserve the best care that money can buy. You can check them out at permanentmakeupinmaine.com. 37 laps to go here at the Milwaukee Mile. Joshua Balliet, 8.5 second advantage over Seth Fitzpatrick, 18 seconds over Max Service, and a lap over fourth. The battles on track, for the most part, have stagnated. With that being said, there's plenty still to race for. And Ed, I think this would be a good time to take a look at the standings coming into today. These are not live. Take a look at what we had coming into today, Ed. So
yeah, I mean, Adrian Schumacher with the win last week punched his ticket into the round in the second round. I think we can honestly say that Jennings and Max Service, I mean, I don't know about Jennings, but I think Max Service we can both agree on that. Definitely could probably say he punched his ticket into the second round as well. Seth Fitzpatrick, I think he's just about at that point too, also with Seth Berger. Jeremiah Stutzman, I think next week after one stage would probably say he's punched in as well. Scott Bailey had a good... Yeah, he had issues today, but I think, him finished... He didn't get any stage points today, but I think if he did okay next week, I think we could say he makes it in okay. Scott Bailey and Devin Smith also, Scott Bailey's been ranging around the top 10 all day, having a good points day overall. Devin Smith has been lingering back and forth between inside and outside top 10. Adam Garner, the big story, had the issue early on and just did not get any stage points at all. Currently, right now, he's out on track, 16th, 63 laps down. And then Jacob Breeze, who I think is probably the big story of a big recovery today, along with Andrew St. Cor. Jacob Breeze did not finish well at Daytona Road Course last week. He's 8 points above the cut line, but I think with the stage points he's got today, I think he's feeling pretty comfortable about going in the Charlotte Roval next week and just having a good finish. Doug Solomons and James Gilliard did not take the track today, so that'll be big for them next week once we head to the Charlotte Roval. But Matt Rogers and also Andrew St. Cor having fantastic days. In my opinion, Matt Rogers did exactly what he needed to do, finishing inside the top 10 in both stages, getting stage points. And Andrew St. Cor absolutely having a fantastic day, finishing probably in the top 5 here before it's all said and done, and getting stage points in stage 2, doing all he can. But Brad Boffalo and Devin Murchie probably in the most must-win situation going into next week.
Absolutely, those two are. And let's remember, Ed, Devin Smith, he's not going to show up next week. So he's somebody who needs to build up a gap large enough to withstand some points here. And I don't know if that's going to come true. His bet might hope, well, what his bet will hopefully be, I guess in his case, is that drivers didn't show up today and drivers didn't show up last week. So he's just trying to outpoint maybe the drivers who had some missed races in this round. But Evan Smith is going to be definitely one of those drivers that is in trouble.
Yeah, I think Devin Smith is going to be in trouble. I also think that Doug Solomons and James Gilliard not showing up is going to be big for them in trouble.
Huge.
Yeah, James Gilliard did not have a good race last week at the not Charlotte Roval, but the Daytona Road Course, and he had to call it quits early. So just think about that, going to another road course the next week, and possibly him having similar troubles with braking and all that kind of issues. But hopefully he gets that all figured out and fixes that. Doug Solomons also was involved in that incident to what got him into that kind of predicament at the Daytona Road Course, so hopefully he cleans it up at the Charlotte Road Course as well. But we haven't seen Brad Boffalo or Derek Murchie at all these last 2 races, I believe, if I'm correct. So
I think that's the point now where even if they were to win their way into the next round, I don't know if Adam's going to allow them because they didn't show up the first 2 races, so they might just already be out. McMurtry
Yeah,
and Bothwell.
So if anything, we would just have to look at Angel St. Croix and Matt Rogers to possibly make it in and maybe see how that goes. But I think Angel St. Croix, this is just my personal opinion. I'm not playing anything. I think Angel St. Croix might have the better chances of making it into the next round on points. I think that's the only way that can make that work. I think Matt Rogers is doing great, but can he finish consistently inside the top 10 all of next week and maybe sneak out a top 5 to top 3 finish in the stage next week to get himself pointed in? That I'm saying if and if only James Gilliard and Doug Solms have big issues next week. That's the only way I see that working.
Yeah, there's a lot to play for here. You have to think. Andrew St. Croix, granted, he's running in 5th now, and he's got some great stage points. He missed last week, and you compare him to Solms and Gilliard, who missed this week. They're going to be on similar footing entering into the Charlotte Roval. It's going to be a straight-up points battle. Matt Rogers did show up for the Daytona Road Course, but he only ran 6 corners.
And just doing all that, I mean, you got to get yourself some
But
reps.
a battle for position.
Yeah, and I just got to this, actually. I was looking at this. Devin Smith has been slowly but surely making his way backwards, honestly, not forward, which
Yeah, that's not good.
surprising to me. No,
For someone who's going to miss next week, he needs to not be dropping.
No, he needs to get up to Adrian. I mean, Adrian's the first car that's 3 laps down in 10th. And that's a point. So, I mean, I know you get every point for passing cars, but, I mean, still. I mean, he's got to get up there in that top 10 to give himself some good points to finish this thing off. And it's not looking good right now. His lap times, too, is just not looking all that great. I mean, Adrian and Jeremiah are running 31 4s and 5s, and Lingerfeld and Devin are running. I mean, Devin's last lap was a 30. No, that was actually better, 31.7. So, I was gonna say the lap before that I saw him run a 32. He needs to pick it up a little bit if he's gonna be able to get there, and I just don't know if he's gonna have the speed or the time to get up there because Adrian's just coming to the start finish line now, and Devin's just going into turn 4, coming off of turn 4 now.
The switch has been flipped between the top 2. It is Seth Fitzpatrick consistently running faster laps than Joshua Balliet. Does he have the time to reel in 8.5 seconds?
Oh, and we had some issues.
Oh?
Turn 3 and 4 on the last lap. Kevin Powell sent Max service.
Oh, no.
And Max actually got into the wall a little bit.
Car looks okay, and he's got about the entire length of the back straightaway over his teammate Seth Berger, but that's huge. We're gonna go ahead and take a look at it.
I was looking back and I'm like, I saw Max really slow up the pace in turns 3 and 4, doing like 40 miles an hour, and I'm like, oh, I gotta take a look at this, and I just seen him go sideways into the corner, and I saw another car behind him giving him some help. And I was watching these two. These two were fighting really fierce, and I just didn't really understand it because Kevin Powell, for one, was a lap down, and Max was on the lead lap, and just, I mean, we saw him make some, trading paint for a little bit, and I just don't know what happened here. If Max just didn't think he was going to peek his nose, and he did.
Wow. And Max did not hit the wall. What a save.
Those
tires are shredded. But
yeah. I just don't know.
Relatively well. I don't know if he was even going to catch Seth Fitzpatrick, let's be fair. His whole battle was to stay ahead of teammate Seth Berger. But, yeah, that's huge.
I just didn't understand. I mean, I think that's just a racing incident, to be honest. I think Max just didn't anticipate him coming in there and just peeking his nose. No, and I think Kevin was trying to show that he had a faster car and just got through there, but I don't think Max is going to be all that happy about that. I'm not going to say that, but
no, Max is not gonna enjoy the fact that happened. That's for sure. Max is struggling for grip now. You saw him way up the track, out of turn 4. Say Fitzpatrick has gained a second on Balliet, and I'm gonna point out 20 laps to go. Fitzpatrick can gain a little bit more than 3/10 a lap on Balliet. He will be there.
And luckily for Max, I think the only thing he's going to have to worry about is if Seth Berger gets around Joshua Balliet. But at this rate, it doesn't look like Seth is able to get around him right now. So I think Max is actually in an okay spot.
I don't think Seth is pressed to get around Mal, unless he absolutely has to, because I think he, right now he's, you know, the lucky dog if a yellow were to come out. The car behind him is Andrew St. Cour, 14.5 seconds back. Understands his teammate is being chased down right now, and if you were to pass him, he'd give him dirty air. Yet there's not too much incentive for Seth to pass him, other than if a caution were to come out, he'd have to start the tail end of the field and not with the top 4.
And that's just, I think it's smart both on Mal's end and also Seth's end, because not only is Mal being able to pull away from Seth Fitzpatrick a little bit, but I think Seth Berger's starting to catch Max service just a little bit too.
Maybe Seth's learning from Mal, and
maybe that's what I'm thinking. That's the only thing I think that can make sense, to be honest, is why Seth is staying behind him. Because I think Seth could have got around him, but he just chose to stay behind him.
Every time we're watching Valiette or Fitzpatrick, I'll throw up the gap between one another on the bottom right corner. So you'll be able to see that in much bigger text. The gap between Valiette and Fitzpatrick, that is, quickly dwindling. Valiette ran a 7:10 that lap, opposed to Fitzpatrick's 4:91.
And this is where Fitzpatrick's car started to get really, really good. It's towards this longer run end of the run. And we're just about there.
And Berger looking to the outside. I think this is actually going to be, if Berger passes Valiette here, this is going to be huge into the favor of Fitzpatrick's hands. I'm sure Malenko is saying that, please, if you're not being pressured from behind, if you're not going to lose a spot, please don't pass. For me to win this race, I'm going to need clean air.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth passing him, because the most that Seth can get is just get Max, but still he's about a half a straightaway behind him.
5 seconds, the gap. 15 laps to go.
And that was another 4/10 faster for Seth Fitzpatrick there than Joshua Balliet.
Yeah, 7:41 for Balliet to Fitzpatrick's 3:10. These are 31-second lap times. A 31:741 last lap for the 7. 31:310 for the 2. This time for the 7.
With racing traffic in front of Seth Fitzpatrick too, then that might play a factor. But I don't know if Adrian's gonna let him go easily or if he's gonna let him go the hard way. So we'll see if that plays a factor.
Be intriguing. Fitzpatrick trying to close that gap. A huge push in the favor of Seth Fitzpatrick. 31.270 for Fitzpatrick to a 31.790 for Balliet.
And Balliet's times are not improving at all. It's staying around that 7 range.
Schumacher, while Fitzpatrick still ran faster, he definitely was holding up Fitzpatrick a little bit there.
Oh yeah, instead of a 4/10 of a second faster, it was only 2/10. So definitely a better improvement for Malenko right there than anything.
4.2 seconds to gap. Most of the battles on track have died down. The only one is this one potentially picking up here between Lingerfeld and Stutzman for the 11th position. But we watch the gap up front. 4 seconds with 12 laps to go. And again, catching is one thing. Passing is another. I have to wonder. A, did Malenko burn up his tires? Or B, is he saving what he's got left in case he has to battle?
I mean, he went slower that time. It was a 31.90 for Balliet. It was a 4.50 for Seth Fitzpatrick that time.
Fitzpatrick,
that's 5/10.
Fitzpatrick might catch the 7 car. This is huge.
Yeah, and they're going to be coming to 10 to go at the line. But the big thing too is Al's got his teammate and Seth Berger behind him, and then also Fitzpatrick's got to get around Jacob Breeze, who I believe is a teammate, to Last Chance. So
I think Reeves wants to get up here and disrupt this. By the way, he wants to try to get to the 7 car if he's able to. Reeves ran a faster lap than Balliet last lap.
if I'm Seth Berger and I'm behind Joshua Balliet, I do not want that 2 to let go by. I don't want a playoff driver to win a race.
Absolutely.
I want the 7 to go win this race. So maybe that might play a little bit of a factor in this.
9 laps to go. The gap is under 3 seconds. And Berger might be intentionally backing up the 22.
There was another 5/10 that last lap for Fitzpatrick. See what it is here at the line. As we're coming to 8 to go.
2.5 seconds the margin. 8 laps to settle it here at the Milwaukee mile. Balliet trying to hold on.
6/10.
Yeah, 6/10 in the favor of Fitzpatrick. We'll call it 5 1/4. And time winding down, but both in laps and the time between the top two. 2 seconds is the gap now. This is it's gonna get rough, and Reeves is now battling the 7 of Balliet, and he knows if the 22 gets by, that he's gonna hold him up.
Absolutely. This is not what the 7 wants. He's got to get going now. There's no way he can't.
And Reeves to the inside. Now, Balliet's going to be in dirty air. Seth is going to have to play his part. Back up the 2 car. It's under a second now with 6 laps to go.
Oh, man. Maliko's got to be getting nervous now a little bit.
This is tough. He's got dirty air. And a teammate to the 2 car chasing him in front. Reeves not really incentivized to catch the car ahead. He's got 13 seconds to that guy. And might be better off to let a teammate win this.
I just don't see how Seth Fitzpatrick's going to be able to pass. It's just going to be difficult. I mean, if Mal just holds that bottom, I don't see how the 2 can use the top to get around. I've never seen anybody use the top yet today to get around the guy on the bottom, besides the guy on the bottom letting him go.
Fitzpatrick is there on the back end of Seth Berger to the inside of the 77. This time by only 4 laps to go, and he is there.
How hard does Seth Berger drive it?
Corner. Fitzpatrick to the lead.
Oh my goodness.
Seth Fitzpatrick takes the lead with 5 laps to go.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the beneficiary of saving tires. Seth Fitzpatrick just showed you exactly what it means when you save tires here at a kind of racetrack.
9.5 seconds on the dominant car of the day. Balliet, who looked so sure en route to his 4th career Outlaws Sim Series victory, for lack of a better term, has choked it away with 3 laps to go. Now a 2.25 seconds in the favor of the 2 of Seth Fitzpatrick.
I just can't believe. I just don't understand how Mal burned his stuff up that fast, or if the 2 is just that. How the 2 was just that much faster on the long run. I mean, just the time comparisons were unreal. I mean, you're talking 5/10, 6/10 a lap, and that's how big of a difference it was between the 2 and the 7. And the 2 just made it look so easy.
Absolutely, Seth Fitzpatrick. I mean, well, Balliet missed the corner more than anything.
I'm just surprised that he really let that happen. I mean, and he's even going slower and slower now. I just don't know if maybe he did something to the car and went south on maybe an adjustment or something, or I just don't know.
Off at this point, or he's not trying anymore. As the 2 of Seth Fitzpatrick, for a remarkable chase down and overtake of the dominant car today, will take the white flag presented by Whiplash Media Sim Cams. Seth Berger unlaps himself to the 2 of Seth Fitzpatrick. And Seth Fitzpatrick had a nice advantage over the cut line coming into today. But he doesn't need that anymore because he's going to punch his ticket to the second round of the playoffs.
I mean, talk about it just out of nowhere. I mean, that 2 looked dominant on the long runs. We didn't think he would be able to catch him with being 9 to 9.5 seconds back, but it was just unreal how much time he just made up doing all that. That was just an insane run. I mean, that was insane.
You see it there? Teammate Jacob Reeves. Gonna shout there. And Seth Fitzpatrick with due celebration on the front straightaway. Oh, when he gets hit by a teammate in the 11 there, Scott Bailey.
That's the most Daytona bump draft I've ever seen. Now, I was just told by Raise Control unofficially, Max Service and Seth Berger did clinch their way into the second round on points. That is unofficially. We're not confirming that yet, but that is what I'm being told from Race Control right now. So we'll have to see once we get to next week from the Charlotte Roval. But unofficially, Max Service and Seth Berger have punched their way into the second round.
That makes sense. We fought that as well.
Oh, what is going on back there?
Not entirely sure what Swift Racing's doing back there. Probably
I think they're having a little party.
Oh.
Yeah, they're having a little party. Well, I guess Seth Fitzpatrick don't need this motor anymore.
And that is our cue to bring him on up and talk to the driver of the 2. And my goodness, Seth Fitzpatrick, you only led 5 laps, but they were the important ones. Seth, you chased down the most dominant driver on the day by a huge margin to put the pressure on, make the overtake, and get it done. Punch your ticket into the next round of playoffs, Seth. For your 3rd win on the season, how did you do it?
Oh, well, I knew every run that we was faster than them at the end of it. So, coming to the end of the 3rd run, I thought, well, because the previous runs, I'd get close, but not close enough to pass him. So I was thinking if I can make him hit 5 to 10 more laps earlier, I can get him. And luckily it worked out in my favor.
Wow. So there's a bit of the mental games, and we mentioned that this race was going to be a little bit of a mental challenge today. This is a tough track. The passing opportunities were few and far between. Just how difficult was it to be running here at the Milwaukee Mile?
Oh, it's tough. It's not easy. It's so technical. I was really struggling in practice. My goal was top 5. I didn't think I was gonna be this good, but I don't know. With every run, I never made any adjustments. With every run, it was just better and better and better every time.
Well, there you go. Seth Fitzpatrick again chased down the dominant driver today, the surefire favorite. Balliet was all confident this week in his favorite track, and comes up short. It comes at the hands of the 2 of Seth Fitzpatrick. A brilliant call strategy wise, and what a drive to close that near 10-second gap down. That takes a lot of staying perfect. I can't think of the word, but it takes a lot of staying perfect, and you did all you had to do tonight, Seth. Congratulations on the win and punching your ticket into the next round of the playoffs.
Thanks, guys, and want to shout out Matt Rogers. Finally got him a win.
There you go. Yeah, with the beautiful Rogers Race Wraps machine. That's a good looking car. Yeah, if you Want to get yourself in some nice looking paint, some nice looking rides? Head over to Rogers Race Wraps. Congratulations once again, Seth, on the victory and punching your ticket to the next round.
All right, thank you.
2 of Seth Fitzpatrick, again dethroning the dominant car of the day. Ed, wild.
That was just, I'm completely mind blown about how much she just made up. I mean, we know how big 9.5 seconds is, Emerson. That's a
huge.
lot of time to make up. That, I mean, just in that span of time is just, that's insane. I mean, and the fact that he was running 5 to 6 tenths of a second faster than Malenko is just insane. But I mean, Seth Fitzpatrick, I mean, we knew he had a really, really great long run car, and he showed it, and he ended up getting there at the right time and won this race.
Let's go to these race results. It's Seth Fitzpatrick with the victory, dethroning the driver who led somewhere in the range of 180 laps, Joshua Balliet, but not the most important one. It's Max Service who finishes on the lead lap in 3rd. Seth Berger rounds out the lead lap with 4th. And Andrew St. Coeur with an amazing drive, being absent in the opening round race of the playoffs. A great bounce back drive at the top 5.
Yeah, absolutely. And then in P6, Kevin Powell, 1 lap down. A great drive for him as well. 7th, Jacob Reeves, another guy that needed a good run all night tonight. After they did Daytona Road Course, having not the great so run. Just a fantastic job for that 22 tonight. Another top 10 run for the 11 of Scott Bailey. Talk about another driver needing a good run. The 96 of Matt Rogers, who needed points desperately tonight to make it in the next round. And last week's winner, who's clinched his ticket already in the 2nd round, Adrian Schumacher, round out the top 10.
On our way to the next page on the results tab, Kyle Lingerfeld finishes 11th, 3 laps down. Jeremiah Stutzman, 12th place, 3 laps down as well. Devin Smith, it'll be 13th for him, 3 laps down. I'll be looking to see what his point situation is heading into the Charlotte Roval. Matt Byers comes home 14th there, 4 laps down. Randall Barnett, in his 10th start in the season, comes home 15th there, 49 laps down. Adam Gardner had the unfortunate issue down lap 40, puts him out of the race there, 16th, 98 laps down. And Greg Holt finishes out the drivers who started tonight, 101 laps off the pace there for Greg Holt. He called it a day early. Well, we're not done with everything just yet here from the Milwaukee Mile. We've got more to come with post-race, more drivers' interviews, and more wrap-up on the far side of this break. Don't you go anywhere.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Welcome, race fans, back to the virtual Milwaukee Mile. We're now in the post-race coverage of what was a wild race here, nearly having a playoff spoiler seal the deal tonight, but comes up one spot short. Mal, I know that one, that's gotta hurt. Dominant car of the day, just didn't have the long run pace over the two of Seth Fitzpatrick there at the end. What happened?
Had some, lap trash get in the way, stunt my growth. The lead should have been bigger, so I shouldn't have to worry about the gap at the end, but overall didn't stay on adjustments, got way too tight on the final stint. The other stints were perfect, but that last stint, those final few laps, there's nothing I could have did. The car didn't turn into 3, but I shouldn't even have to worry about that. I should have been 15 seconds ahead of that final stint, but lap trash wanted to get in the way for no reason.
Wow. I figured that was more or less going to be what was happening. We saw there was a lot of instances where you were racing lap traffic, and some of them were playoff drivers where they have a lot more to lose than you do. What was going through your mind with some of those interactions? You're getting blocked by some of the playoff drivers trying to stand the lead lap.
Well, I figured if you were in the playoffs, you would actually want to make it to the end of the race, because a few of those times they didn't. So, congrats to them. They know who they are. We'll see them next race.
Well, speaking of next race, the Charlotte Roval, I know you're no Adrian, but I know that's a track that you can do pretty well at, considering you had the single place finish at the Daytona Road Course and today. How do you feel about what you can do at the Charlotte Roval?
Oh, Roval's pretty good. I guess I probably won't have to worry about those people, because those people usually run in the back anyway, so I'll just go out there and run the Roval best I can and probably finish second to Adrian.
Well, there's the 7 of Joshua Balliet, led 175 laps today. Unfortunately, just one spot shy of what he needed for his 4th career win. Very, very tough one to take there, Mal. Congratulations on the 2nd place finish and a great race run, and the best luck to you at the Roval.
Thank you.
Well, that was one I was expecting to go that way.
I was also expecting that.
But I can see the frustration. Somebody who shouldn't be frustrated, who had a great race run today. 22 Jacob Reeves put together a good one to give him some playoff points, and he's standing by with Ed.
Yeah, absolutely. A fantastic run after just not so much great of a run. Jacob Reeves, I mean, you had a great day today. It seemed like last week at Daytona Road Course, it looked like you had your back up against the wall after that whole spiel that happened where it put you 3 laps down and just out of the points contention for the rest of the race. But tonight, looked like you had a great run overall tonight. Tell us about how your car felt all night.
Felt pretty good. We didn't get a lot of practice this week. Surprise, surprise. If anybody's been following me here lately, I don't get a lot of practice, but I show up on race day when it counts. And car was good. We played around with it and done this and that a little bit before the race, and we gambled with something that we thought would work. Want to give a shout out to Elite Performance Industries for the setup and then all they do for me racing every single week. But we come out of this thing with some stage points, and that's what we need. I mean, I know we was like 8 points above the cut line, so we got some points. And also congrats to Seth on the win.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned it, all the stage points that matter to you in this next coming races. And next week we go into the Charlotte Roval, where I know the last time we went to a road course, it wasn't the best of luck for you, having that low incident that got you in the situation you were tonight. But you need 8 points above the cut line, and after tonight, I think you have a little bit more of a cushion. Does that play a little bit more of a different strategy maybe into next week, or are you still going to try to go as hard as you possibly can to maybe make sure that buffer is still good enough for you to make it into that second round?
I'm still going to be praying next week. I ain't even going to lie. I mean, road courses have never been my specialty. Obviously short tracks has, with how everything's went for me throughout the season. I've always been good at short tracks, and if I'd have had a little bit more practice, I probably would have had a better finish this week, but, other things come up. But we're just going to go into the Roval and just, do what we can. We'll lean on our teammates, and we're going to do a lot of praying, and hopefully we'll still be above that cut line going in the second round.
Now, I know I mentioned to you already about the Charlotte Roval, and I know you mentioned that it's not one of your favorite road courses, but say you did make it to that second round, what track specifically are you looking at to possibly get a win and make yourself move on to that next round of the third round?
Talladega. Honestly, Talladega. I've learned some things for the past couple plate races. I mean, I know we had a good run in the Daytona 500. We done decent at Talladega, but we messed up, and I know exactly what I did to mess up on that. And we done good at Daytona for the night race, so I'm really looking forward to Daytona, or excuse me, Talladega. I'm sideways here, but yeah, but I'm looking forward to Talladega. I love that track. I mean, I know a lot of people will say, you know, it's the easiest track on the game, but or on the sim, but it ain't. I mean, you gotta know who your friends are, and you gotta know what you're doing, and know when to push and pass and all that good stuff. And I've learned a lot of stuff over the year, so I'm really looking forward to Talladega in the second round. Really looking forward to that.
Well, Jacob, congratulations on your top 10, man. I definitely know that's the night you were looking for stage points and all, but I wish you the best of luck next week as we head on the Charlotte Roval, and we'll see you next week, man. Have a good rest of your night.
Appreciate it, guys.
Next driver of the number 22, Jacob Reeves, came home with a 7th place finish this evening. We had one more interview lined up, but looks like they bailed on us. So we do have 4th place finisher Seth Berger standing by if you had.
Yeah, Seth Berger having a great top 5 run tonight, all for that Berger Nation. Seth, you're rocking that new Burger Arts logo there tonight. I know you have that new promotion going on for you guys and all, but not a bad showing tonight for that new Burger Arts look tonight. Not a bad top 5 at all. Tell us what more you could have done possibly to sneak up there and get a top 3 finish for you.
I could have passed Mal right away as soon as I came out of pits, but at the start of pits, I wasn't that much quicker, and I didn't want to give him dirty air, so I said I would just ride behind him and try to help him out with that a little bit, but the setup really got away from him in the second half of that run, the last 20 laps, because that was crazy how close Fitzpatrick came. I thought it was a guaranteed win for Mal, and yeah, that was crazy. I was just trying to help out Mal there, but like I said, the only way I could have got to Max is if I went around him right away, and even then, I don't think I would have got to Max.
Now, I know you've probably been told this already, but unofficially we can tell you that you are unofficially locked into the second round. Even with whatever points you get next week at the Charlotte Roval, unofficially you are locked into that second round. Does that play any different of a factor for you next week when we head to the Charlotte Roval at all?
I'm going to be full sending it a lot more just to finish second to Adrian if I keep it on track.
Well, even with that, even if when you do make it past the second round, we do have an interesting set of tracks set up for that second round with USA International, Talladega, and Darlington. What track out of those 3 you think in particular do you think is that good track for you that you think you can pull off a win and advance yourself into that third round?
I always do typically good at Talladega, but obviously that's a total wild card. USA is unfortunately not one of my greatest tracks. It's actually one of my worst ones, so that'll be a stressful night. I think probably Darlington is probably the easiest solid run that I could get.
Well, Seth, no matter what, congratulations on your top 5 finish, and also congratulations on unofficially making it into the second round of the playoffs, and we'll see you at Charlotte Roval next week, and have a great show night.
All right, thank you. Also got to shout out Berg_Arts on all social media. Make sure you are following the page by Friday. There will be a giveaway post being put out, so you don't want to miss out your opportunity on winning something for free. No one wants to miss out on winning something for free. And also shout out Burger Nation, whoever's still watching.
Way to go, driver of the number 77, Seth Berger. By the way, Seth, I did give you a nice little shout out earlier in the race as well, Bergarts. So yeah, Bergarts, you heard him. Giveaway on Friday. You want to be there, be square. Driver to number 77, Seth Berger. And yeah, I mean, what a day. Dominated by Malika. Just wasn't able to pull it off there. Seth gave us a little bit more insight there that kind of set up, fell away from him there towards the end of the race. But he said it, should have had a much bigger gap. Wow. What's your takeaways from the race tonight, Ed?
Chaos again. I mean, I know Daytona Road Course was interesting and it was a blowaway by Adrian Schumacher to say the least, but it just looked like Malico had this thing taken away from him right at the end where he didn't need it to happen. I know he's frustrated with lap traffic and how that paid out, but I mean, overall, that's how the playoffs are. You're going to get people that are just trying to fight to stay in it, and you know it's going to end up that way. But I understand his frustration personally. I fell down on a personal note, and I know it's tough for him because he dominated this race in such a dominating fashion. You know, leading the most laps and all, and having to take away from him with just over 5 laps to go is just frustrating. But Seth Fitzpatrick, I mean, just showed that to everybody out there. I mean, if you're not saving tire, that's what's going to happen. I mean, saving tire is the biggest thing in iRacing, no matter what. That's exactly what Seth Fitzpatrick just showed to us tonight. The kind of pace you can have when you save your tires correctly and do it in a manageable fashion shows you how fast you can be in the end and when it counts.
Absolutely. Tough break again for Malenko, Joshua Balliet, who was very much en route to a 4th career win. He did get his first 2 career stage victories in the Outlaws Sim Series tonight, but sure, that doesn't mean anything to him with the grand scheme of things. But while that's going to do it for us this evening, there's still a whole lot more to come up on the channel this week. And yeah, you don't see the Outlaws Sim Series on there. We actually have quite a bit of broadcasts coming up Thursday night, tomorrow night. We have, again, where Andrew, Zach Murtis, they're broadcasting the official Legend Coops Cup race, you know, the Virtual Racing School Advanced Legends Cup at USA International. You won't want to miss it. And if you're a short track driver or you're just a driver on the sim and you think you can make top split with the Legend Coops and have a good run, get out there, get on track, and we'll be broadcasting it. And yeah, put on a good show for us tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. VRS Advanced Legends Cup from USA International. Then, this is a new series to the channel, the Sim Pit. We'll have them, their sports cars at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, and that's going to be at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You won't want to miss the debut of the Sim Pit from Spa. And also Sunday night, we're back with the Superior Class Auto Racing Series and their Radicals tackling the Charlotte Motor Speedway Roval, 8:45 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a grand old time. Those Radicals are a fun car to drive, and Scar is always putting on a great show for us here at Pit Stop TV. And Ed, where can everybody keep up with them?
I mean, just on our social media pages, right? I mean, you go facebook.com/pitstoptv, go to twitter.com/pitstoptv_, go to instagram.com/pit_stop_tv, or some of you may be watching on the Twitch at twitch.tv/pit_stop_tv, or some of you may be also watching on our YouTube at youtube.com/c/pitstoptv1. Other than that, Emerson, I'm ready to go to bed. I'm kind of tired, Luki. That was a long race. That was exhausting, but it was a fun race to cast over it tonight. I definitely am a big fan of the Milwaukee Mile. That was my first time ever watching a race, or even, you know, being at the track personally. But that was a fun race to watch, and definitely looking forward to a lot more action possibly from this track further down the road, and hopefully we come back here next season. I was having a blast.
Right. Again, a great track. This is the second time we've had it on an Outlaw Sim Series schedule, and it put on a great show tonight. These NextGen cars, we have never seen the NextGen cars at Milwaukee. We haven't seen Cup in Milwaukee in so long. So it was good to see, you know, what these cars can do at this track. And by the way, I forgot to say it sooner, but 1904 was when this year was official. This track was officially converted from a horse track to an automobile racing track. But the fact that this place opened up in 1876 and is still operating also has to say a lot about the ownership here. Great stuff from the Milwaukee Mile, albeit this is virtual. Great time tonight, though. Seth Fitzpatrick did everything he needed to do. He kept himself alive in the race and was there when it mattered and won the race. Took it away from the dominant car today, and he punched his ticket into the next round of the playoffs. And yeah, that'll do it from Milwaukee. We're happy to have had you all here tuning in and joining us for tonight's action, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. For all at Pit Stop TV, Ed Scher alongside on the call this evening, I am Emerson Arden. We'll see you tomorrow night for the Virtual Racing School Advanced Legends Cup from the USA International, or next Wednesday night
for Outlaws Sim Series playoff action from the Charlotte Roval.